We're ready to play baseball on a Saturday from Doran Park. It's the Firebirds on the Birds Broadcast Network taking on the Bourne Braves. First time here at Doran Park in the 2023 season. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas got you on Scorching Start. Our pregame show here on the Birds Broadcast Network. And Ian, what a game it was last night against the YD Red Sox. The top team in the East, the Firebirds took it to them and then some.
Well, yeah, if you're looking at the head-to-head standings, Orleans should be there, right? The last two games, Orleans YD have gone the way of the Birds. And last night's game was a blowout compared to the first game on Sunday, which was 5-4 in extra innings at Red Wilson Field. But last night, it was just an offensive explosion. 10-1 Birds over YD from Eldridge. And every single guy in the lineup for Orleans got on base. There were obviously some standout performances. Both Andy Blake, who's been fantastic, and Johnny Olmstead, who needed a big game, had 3 RBIs each, but every single guy in the order for Kelly Nicholson reached. All of them made an impact. A couple scoreless frames early on. Daniel Avidia held it down for 6 innings, and it was one of the most well-rounded games Orleans has played all year.
10 runs, second time that the Firebirds have hit double digits this year. They take on the Braves today. And they have a new starting pitcher on the mound. He's made a few bullpen appearances, but Sam Leboki is the starter today. We go to our sideline reporter, Sammy Miller, with more.
Thank you, Dylan. And like you said, Sam will be making his first start of the summer for the Firebirds. And I asked Kelly Nicholson what he tells his pitchers who are making their starting debut. And he expressed how he wants them to simply be themselves and take it one throw at a time. And if there's one thing that Sam Leboki does, it's be himself. His head coach at Vanderbilt, Tim Corbin, emphasizes constantly to be yourself on the bump and added that Leboki knows who he is, what his strengths are, and how to get out of jams. He went on to say that he doesn't try to do something he's not capable of doing. Sam gets the strike zone and is also a good student coach inside the dugout. He's a very team-oriented guy, which is something very important in summer ball when you're trying to build strong connections with your catchers you only met a few weeks ago. So it'll definitely be exciting to see what he does today at Doran Park. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. Henry Hunter will be doing the catching for Sam Leboki today. Ian, Leboki's at 2 2/3 innings of work, 4 strikeouts, a walk. He got into some trouble last time against Brewster, came into a big situation, up 3-1 and loaded the bases. But like Sammy said, he was himself on the mound and got out of the
Ladies
jam.
and gentlemen, welcome to Doran Park on the campus of Upper Cape
Bases
Technical High
loaded,
School.
nobody out against a Brewster team that has a
Introducing
lot of
first
pop
the
at the
visiting
top of that
lineup for the
lineup.
Orleans
Things
Firebirds.
didn't look too good. And part of a reason why he worked into
Batting
that jam
first,
was
the second
out
baseman
of
from the
his
University of
control.
California, Irvine,
It was raining.
Joe
It was a
Oyama.
really bad weather day from Brewster earlier
Batting
this
second,
week.
the shortstop
And
from
Leboki
Duke
probably
University,
couldn't grip the
number
ball
35,
as good as he
Andy
usually
Blake.
could. And a couple walks and a hit by pitch.
Batting third,
Bases
the left
loaded,
fielder
but then
from George Washington
really
University,
right on
number
cue, the
24,
rain stopped
Eddie
and Leboki stopped
Jr.
walking guys. Yeah, he gave up a run and a
Batting
sac
fourth, the
fly,
right
but
fielder
to
from
work
James
out of that
Madison
jam, only
University,
giving up
number
1
13,
run to
Fenwick
keep the
Trimble.
lead in a game where your offense was getting a lot of
Batting
hits
fifth,
but
the
not
third
driving in a
baseman
lot of
from the University
guys
of Notre
was
Dame,
big
number 11,
and a big win
Jack
over Brewster.
Penny.
So excited to see what Leboki does today.
Batting
Had Tommy
sixth, the
John
first
surgery
baseman
a
from the
couple
University
years
of
ago,
Southern
came
California,
back during
number
his
8,
senior
Johnny
season at
Olmstead.
Vanderbilt. Really not senior experience, but pitched really
Batting
well out of a
seventh, the
bullpen for
designated hitter
Tim
from
Corbin.
Georgetown
Like
University,
Sammy was
number
mentioning,
30,
and excited
Jake
to see what he can do
Hyde.
in a starting role today.
He'll be the starter
Batting
with
eighth, the
15 on
catcher
his
from
back. On the
University
other
of
side
Alabama,
for
Birmingham,
Bourne,
number 40, Henry Hunter.
the man from Iowa, it's Marcus Morgan, the righty.
Batting ninth,
He
the
was the
center
Friday
fielder from
starter
Kent
over
State
for the
University,
Hawkeyes.
number 16,
And he really made a
Jake
huge jump from
Casey.
his first year to his second year in
And the
Iowa.
starting pitcher for the Firebirds
He did,
from
and
Vanderbilt
Marcus
University,
Morgan
number
is
15,
super good.
Sam
And
Leboki.
I can tell you that because
The
one of
field
the other
manager
starting
for the
pitchers on
Firebirds,
Iowa
Kelly
that
Nicholson.
Orleans has faced this season, Brody Brecht, who played for Chatham early on in the year, he was really good. He pitched 4 shutout
Bourne
innings
Braves and the
against Orleans a couple
Firebirds,
weeks
along
ago
with
from
the Cape
Veterans
Cod Baseball
Field.
League and the
Brody
NCAA
Brecht
promote
was the
good
number
sportsmanship
2
by
starting
student
pitcher on
athletes,
the
coaches, and
Hawkeyes. Marcus
spectators. We
Morgan
request your
was the number
cooperation and
1, so
positive
that tells you
support
just
of the
how good
participants
Morgan
and
is.
officials.
He had a
Profanity,
decent start his
racial or
first
sexist
time around
comments or
on the
other
Cape.
intimidating
Pitched
actions
down the
directed at
24th
officials,
against
student
Brewster
athletes, or
in what ended
coaches,
up being
or
a
team
9-5
representatives
loss
will
for
not be
Bourne.
tolerated and
Went
are
4
grounds for
innings,
removal
gave
from
up
this
2 earned
ballpark.
off 3 hits. Going to have to work on his control his second time around. Walked more guys, 3, then he struck out with 2. So that's going to be the key for Marcus Morgan tonight. He's the Iowa kid through and through from Iowa City, the number 1 guy in a loaded conference in the SEC for Iowa. He's certainly a talent, and he'll look for a little bit of a better start just around a week later.
We're about 12 minutes from first pitch here on the Scorching Start. 10 runs for the Firebirds yesterday. Like Ian said, every single guy who got into the game got on base in some sort of way, hit, walk, hit by pitch, whatever it was. But it was 11 hits for an offense that desperately needed an explosive performance.
It was. It's just an offense that in the middle of the order and towards the back half of the order was not getting as much production as it probably wanted. I mean, the top of the order for Orleans has really solidified itself with Joe Oyama leading off and getting on base early and often. Andy Blake just hitting line drive after line drive in the outfield. Eddie Micheletti's been so good batting third, not striking out often, reaching, hitting for power. And then Fenwick Trimble has come on over the last few games once again as a key cog batting cleanup for Kelly Nicholson. Everything after that was a little bit wishy-washy, but yesterday it all came together. I mean, Jack Penny's been a beast over the last week, and he reached all 5 times he came up to the plate yesterday, and he was hitting some bombs into the outfield. Johnny Olmstead, he was fantastic towards the latter half of yesterday's game with a couple extra base hits. And then somebody that you talked to earlier, Jake Hyde, a fantastic player at Georgetown in the spring in his junior season. He went 1 for 4 and drove in a couple runs with a double. So right now here on a scorching start, let's see what Jake Hyde had to say to Dylan just a few moments ago.
Back here on the scorching start, Dylan Pescatore with Jake Hyde. Jake, it seemed like at the start of the season you guys were struggling a little bit, especially you personally. How did you mentally continue to come to the ballpark every day with a positive mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I think we put in a lot of work, early work before we get to BP, and just, trusting the process and keeping at it. Baseball is a tough game. You go through times where you're doing well, times you're doing really bad. So it's just all part of the process, and you gotta come every day, and it's a privilege to be out here playing baseball, and there's no better thing to do. So even when you're struggling, it's a fun thing to be doing. So it's good to be out here.
Are there any people or things that you kind of credit to? Because I noticed that every day you come to the park with a positive mindset, smile on your face, no matter if your batting average is 400 or 200.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's something I kind of started doing once I got to college, where it's like I do every time during the national anthem, I kind of think about how lucky I am to be playing baseball. Like, there are people serving the country, there are people going through really hard times. So it's just always a privilege to be able to play baseball and do this. I'm so blessed, and we all are so blessed to be here. It's a beautiful thing. People go through hard times, and just being able to play baseball is you can't ask for anything better. So whether you're going 0 for 4 with 4 Ks or 4 for 4 with 4 bombs, it's an awesome thing. So
last night was Military Appreciation Night.
Yeah,
what did that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's always special. They give so much for our country and for kids like me and us to go out here and play every day. So their sacrifice is greatly appreciated, and we love this country and love what they do. It's special.
And you guys got a win last night, a big 10-1 win against YD. Now you're trying to turn it into a streak. It's been a lot of win-loss. How do you guys find that consistency again like you did earlier in the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's the pitching's been great. They've been doing a great job, so they give us a chance every night. Just with the bats, it's tough. You face a lot of good pitchers, but I think one of the things last night that Coach Fesky was very happy with, and I think all the guys did, was we were in good counts. We were trusting what we did. We walked a lot, so I think the key is just getting base runners and letting guys do their jobs. I know Andy Blake had 3 sac flies last night or something, and guys would get up with runners in scoring positions and high leverage situations, get the job done. So getting runners on base and just keep hitting the balls hard and doing things the right way. I think that's all you can kind of do, and then put yourself in good position to win. So I think just keeping with the ABs. A lot of guys have good confidence right now. Guys are swinging it well. Johnny L, great to see him last night. I mean, if we can get guys like him going, Jay Casey's going too. This is a dangerous offense. So I'm excited to see if we get everyone going. It's going to be a good thing, and I think the offense will really roll.
I agree. And then last question for you: 2 RBI double yesterday. I think it was a 2-strike count as well with bases loaded. How can that kind of get you going personally?
Yeah, it was good. I kind of got a good pitch to hit in a 2-strike count, which you don't usually get. But, good to get the confidence going and get something done. I feel like I've been hitting balls hard and been doing a better job. So good to see one fall and, in a big spot like that, get us a lead. And then obviously pitchers did a great job to keep it that way. So, and the rest of the offense did later. So it feels good to get a hit, and hit the ball hard. So that's all you can hope for, and keep trying to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jake. Back to you, Ian. Back here on Scorching Start. That was Jake Hyde talking about last night's game, along with it being Military Appreciation Night. It was a Red Shirt Friday, something that the Cape Cod Baseball League does every single Friday night. The home team wears red. as we continue here, about 7 minutes until first pitch. Both coaches coming out, handling the lineup cards, meeting the umpires. We'll get to them in a few more minutes. But Ian, let's go over the Orleans lineup today that put up 10 last night and now come out with a similar 9.
Yes, Joe Oyama leads off from UC Irvine at second base. Batting second is Andy Blake, the shortstop transferring to Duke. Batting third is Eddie Micheletti, the left fielder out of George Washington, currently in the transfer portal. Batting cleanup, Fenwick Trimble in right field from James Madison. Batting fifth, the guy who reached base 5 times last night, and playing third, Jack Penny from Notre Dame. Batting sixth, Johnny Olmstead at first base once again from USC. Jay Kai, the man you talked to a few moments ago, the designated hitter, batting 7th from Georgetown. Henry Hunter doing the catching tonight, batting 8th from Alabama Birmingham. And rounding out the order for Kelly Nicholson, batting 9th, and playing in center field from Kent State, Jake Casey.
Last night was another game with fog. However, today is clear skies at Doran Park in Bourne. Ian, we haven't done this in a few games, but here on radio, looking at that starting 9 for Orleans, who's a name that really stands out to you that you think will have a good game tonight?
That's a good question. Give it a little bit of a look. Just let the brain process and do its magic. Jack Penny is an easy choice, but it's not, the pick to click is supposed to be somebody who maybe has been a little quieter, who we expect to have a big night. So Jack Penny would be too easy. Johnny Olmstead already had his big night. Jake Hyde drove in a run yesterday. I'd like to see one of the 2 guys at the bottom of the order provide a little something, and I think Henry Hunter could be that guy tonight. Started the year 3 for 9 from the plate. He's gone 0 for his last 12, but he's got good power, and he reaches on walks more often than you think. I think tonight Henry Hunter gets things back on track from the plate. The lefty catcher is going to do something big from the 8 spot.
Yeah, if you were to critique any sort of the Orleans lineup, that each guy has really had their certain game. I mean, last night was Penny and Olmstead. A few games ago, you have a Micheletti game and a Blake game. Everyone kind of has their big games. If you had to make a critique, it'd probably be what they're getting from the catching position that really hasn't kind of been up to standard so far this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and I think if you ask both guys, they would tell you they've got a lot more room to grow from the plate. They've got a lot of potential. They've shown good things, but Owen Carpellotti and Henry Hunter, both of their batting averages right now sitting just under the 160 mark. So I understand catchers are, expected to do so much more than just hit the baseball, right? And both of them have been really solid defensively and have had the ability to throw out runners in the infield and have really gelled well with this pitching staff. They're a big reason why Orleans has one of the best pitching staffs in the league. But from the plate, they're still growing and developing a little bit. I think we've seen good signs from Owen Carpellotti over the last week. I'd like to see some similar stuff from Henry Hunter today.
So about 4 more minutes until first pitch. We're going to also break for anthem when it's time for that to take place. Both teams in their dugouts for now before Bourne will come out to the field after their hype video here on
and
their
now
little
the starting lineup for your
jumbotron on the PA
2022
announcer.
Cape League champion.
But Ian, I think
Braves.
another thing that kind of went overlooked, we talked about all 3 phases of the
Batting
game.
first,
Hitting,
the center fielder from
defense,
Auburn University, number
just
10,
having good
Chris
at-bats.
Stanfield.
All 3 phases, including base running, was
Batting
such
second,
an
the
A+
shortstop
last
from
night
Vanderbilt
that
University,
it's like,
number 2,
this is
Jonathan
the potential that this team
Vastine.
has that they can put on the field every single night.
Batting third, the catcher from Coastal Carolina,
Kelly
number
Nicholson's
45,
teams always
Hayden
have a few
Bodine.
characteristics to them, I believe. One of them
Batting
is the
fourth, the
pitching,
designated hitter
because
from the
he's
University
a
of
pitching
Arkansas,
guy, former
number
pitching
36,
coach,
Kendall
and a
Diggs.
player who played on the bump for Loyola Marymount.
Batting
But I
fifth,
think
the
another
first
thing
baseman
he's
from
always
Virginia
looking to
Tech,
get out of his
number
teams
19,
is
Garrett
speed.
Michelle.
And I obviously think that the speed that
Batting
this
sixth,
team
the
has
second
could
baseman from
potentially be
Rutgers
poked
University,
if
number
everybody's
13,
running the bases
Joshua
well.
Kuroda
Joe
Rowell.
Oyama leading off has some of the best speed in the league.
Batting seventh,
for a
the
guy
third
who's
baseman
5'7".
from the University of
That's
Alabama,
exactly what you
number
want from
9,
the leadoff
Bryce
spot.
Evelyn.
Andy Blake stole a bag last night, 6'4".
Batting eighth, the
He
right
hits for
fielder from
power,
Rutgers
but he's also
University,
got
number
good speed when
24,
he's on the
Pete
base pass.
Chufreda.
Jack Penny, somebody who we are waiting for
Batting
to
ninth, the
steal a
left fielder
base.
from
He's been
Texas
caught
Tech,
stealing a few
number
times.
16,
He's
Gage
just waiting
Harrelson.
to slide in safe to a bag. And then
And the
Eddie
starting
King,
pitcher for the
obviously at the
Braves
bottom of the
from the
order,
University of
provides
Iowa, number
obviously
27,
I think the best speed
Marcus
on this team.
Morgan.
Not in the lineup tonight, but if you need a pinch runner,
Field
if you need
manager
somebody
for
in the middle of the
Braves
game
is
to
Scott
provide you a
Landers,
spark
along
on
with
the base
coaches
pass,
Kevin Curtin,
King is your
John
guy.
Topoleski, Lucas
As
Olin,
we get
and
ready for
Jared
anthem, we're going to head to break. We'll be right back,
Tonight,
ready
back
for
kids are
some
Ronan
Firebirds
Kelly
baseball on the
and
road in
Mackenzie
Bourne
Karras.
here on the Birds Broadcast Network.
And tonight. where he is active in chorus, band, and theater, and has previously sung the national anthem for the boys' varsity basketball games.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The Braves family has lost a member of this family this past offseason. Don Provost was a founding board member.
Back here on Scorching Start, 6 o'clock has hit. First pitch about to happen here at Doran Park in Bourne. Ian, this is the 10th out of the 10 parks in the league that we have now been able to visit.
Yes, we have made it through the entirety of the gauntlet now in game number 18 on this season. The first time these two teams met up at home in just the third game of the year, first home win of the season for Orleans. And it was a 6-3 win where the offense took a bat seat in the early part of the year with the wood bats being in full effect. But just going back to the field, it's a beautiful venue. You know, you and I were talking earlier in the game, what is the best venue here on the Cape? We won't disclose that information to the public, even though Eldridge, you know, obviously gets a little bit of a plus because it's the home ballpark. It's a beautiful ballpark here. Great speakers. They've got an interesting burger just like YD does in the snack stand. We didn't have it yet, so we can't judge that. And it's the home of the champs. I mean, I know these guys weren't on the team last year, but Bourne, last two seasons, has been in the finals, in the championship series, and won the championship series in 2022. This is where you want to pick up a win.
That's right, 2022 champs, 2021 runner-ups to Brewster. As we go through the Orleans lineup, they're almost ready to go. It starts with Joe Oyama. Ceremonial first pitch about to occur. Oyama, Blake, Micheletti Jr., Trimble, Penny, Olmsted, Hyde, Hunter, and Casey, the starting 9 for the Firebirds here in Bourne. Beautiful stadium, the gravel warning track, a great PA box, good scoreboard as well here in Doran Park. Some construction. I think that's a new football field coming in past the center field fence. So along dimensions, when you talk about 330s in each corner, 300 right down the line and right, it almost curls in like the pesky pole over at Fenway Park. It's going to be tough to get one out of here tonight.
It definitely will be. Orleans has had the ability to hit a few home runs out of a park over the last few games. So excited to see the kind of power Orleans can display tonight, but there will be no gimmies. 390 in center. It's pretty deep in left as well. You might be able to push something over the right field wall. Did get a 3-run home run out of Johnny Olmsted the last time these two teams played. Olmsted had another big shot last night. So interested to see maybe who could take it deep tonight for Orleans.
We'll see if he can continue. Marcus Morgan almost done with his warm-up pitches. Wearing the yellow cleats, of course. He's an Iowa Hawkeye. And behind him, the defense. Ian, you want to take it away?
Dylan, I would like to do nothing more. Caden Bodine behind the dish out of Coastal Carolina. Garrett Michelle at first from Virginia Tech. Josh Kuroda-Grauer from Rutgers, the second-year Bourne Bravo. He's at second. Bryce Eblin, he is at third. Jonathan Vastine is at short. And Gage Harrelson is in left. Chris Stanfield A little emphasis on the stand at Auburn. He's in center. Pete Chafreda, he's in right. Also going to Rutgers next year.
So a few Rutgers. You got Iowa on the mound. And Ian, when you look at this offense yesterday, what really stood out to you from a technical standpoint on what they can continue on today, no matter the hitter?
For Bourne, that is.
For Orleans.
For Orleans. Look, I was thinking Bourne, crazy walk-off walk yesterday. That was what came to my mind. For Orleans, it's just stay patient, pass the baton, be a bunch of Steve Nashes,
Now
as Kelly Nicholson would say,
from the University of California, Irvine,
and understand,
Joe Oyama.
where the barrel of your wood bat is. It's not easy to comprehend early on in the year, but I think these guys are starting to get it.
Joe Oyama steps into the box a Saturday night, 6:04 p.m., and we're ready for first pitch from Marcus Morgan to Joe Oyama, who fouls back to the backstop for strike number 1. Oyama leads the team in batting average out of UC Irvine with a .326, 3 RBIs as well in the season. Still looking for his first homer of the year. Got close in Brewster a few times. The 0-1 from Morgan is a swing and a miss on a slider down and in to the lefty Oyama.
He's been a little quiet over the last 2 games, though. Has reached in each of the last 2, but is 0 for his last 7.
Looking to get back on the board quickly down 0-2 to Morgan. Fires a fastball inside and low for a ball.
Something that was uncharacteristic yesterday. Oyama struck out 3 times. He was very low strikeout guy to start the season.
The high fastball got him a few. 1-2. Chopper to third. It's going to be a tough play. Picking up is Eblin. Throw to first. Not in time. It gets away and to the warning track. Oyama's going to try to take second. He'll stroll in safely. Interesting spin on the grounder to third. Eblin threw it over the head of Michelle.
The shortstop from
And an
Duke
error
University,
along with
35,
a hit.
Andy.
So they're going to rule it a single and then an error on the throw, which allows Oyama to take second with nobody out, and Andy Blake is the batter.
That's just the speed of Joe Oyama presenting such a challenge for infielders. It took a weird bounce off the left side of the infield. Eblin was on time as much as he could have been. I think he played it right, but a lot of pressure to throw out the speedy Oyama led to an errant throw.
Not a good start for the Bourne defense. Morgan throws this one away, spikes it. Oyama takes third.
And just like that, when Joe Oyama gets on the base paths, he puts so much pressure on the opposing pitcher, the entirety of the infield, the catcher to be perfect because he's got speed for days, and he's all of a sudden on third on an infield single.
Still nobody out. Top 1 with Andy Blake now up 1-0 in the count after the spiked fastball, and now a high breaking ball. 2-0 is Blake. A rather large backstop here on Bourne when we're talking about wild pitches and taking extra bases. Morgan's pitch that he spiked went about 53, 54 feet. 2-0 is outside and low to Blake. Early trouble for Morgan, who's had some control problems earlier in his career.
Did walk 3 guys in his first start this summer compared to just 2 strikeouts and a 4-run loss to Bourne.
3-0 the count to Blake with Oyama on third. Fires a fastball for a strike.
Lost to Brewster, rather. I mean, you can always beat yourself. That's really how you beat yourself every day. But Brewster, Whitecaps, taking a win in that game.
Brewster playing early tonight at YD. An East Division matchup. 3-1, another spiked ball. Oyama's going to come to the plate. He will get in there safely. A walk to Blake. That is ball 4. 2 pitches that end up bouncing before the dirt even starts at home plate. Oyama scores to put Orleans on the board early in the top of the first.
You'll take the runs however you can get them. And Marcus Morgan obviously working through some control issues early on in this game. He's faced just 2 batters, an infield single, and an error. That's not his fault, but in that at bat to Andy Blake, 2 pitches that spiked well in front of home plate. Not a lot Bodine can do.
Bodine with no chance. Another pitch to the backstop. Blake goes to second. A good bounce back to Bodine, but Blake's going to slide into second safely. 3 pitches in the top of the first with nobody out that have ended up at the backstop. Now Bodine's going to come and meet with his pitcher. That wasn't a fastball. That was an off-speed pitch that he lost control of. Blake now stands at second. 1-0 the count to Eddie Micheletti Jr., the lefty, with nobody out in the top of the first. A crazy start to this one.
sometimes you just struggle at the gates and you don't have your control. It's really out of your control in some ways. You could be doing everything right fundamentally, and Bodine smartly going up to Morgan just trying to settle him down because Orleans is just going to lay off until he can find the zone again.
1-0 to Micheletti. Blake stands on second. Nobody out. Swing and a miss on a slider on the inside corner from Morgan. Eblin, Vastine, Carota Grauer, and Michelle is third to first on defense for Bourne. Harrelson, Stanfield, and Chufreda from left to right in the outfield. Catching is Bodine. 1-1 pitch is outside to Micheletti Jr. He had the second hit for Orleans yesterday in a collection of 11 in a 10-1 win last night against YD. Look back at second. The 2-1 outside again with the off-speed. 8 balls, 5 strikes to start off the day for Morgan. The righty out of Iowa became the Friday starter after he started in the bullpen in his freshman year and struggled. 3-1, another walk. 2 back-to-back walks. Blake stays at second. Micheletti Jr. takes the open base at first. Fenwick Trimble comes up with Blake still on second in scoring position. Micheletti at first, and the righty Trimble comes to bat.
You mentioned it before the game. The one big point of development with Marcus Morgan is limiting the free passes. 51 walks handed out in his sophomore season at Iowa in just over 65 innings pitched.
Another pitch in the dirt. This one blocked by Bodine. Trimble, the righty, went 0 for 5 last night with a fielder's choice that got him on base. He's been having good at-bats, and especially had one last night, upwards of 8 to 9 pitches. The strikeouts have been a little bit of a problem. He squares around a bunt before the pitch is even thrown, pulls back as the pitch is a ball. 2-0 the count now. 2 runners on with nobody out for Orleans in the top of the first here in Bourne. And now the pitching coach for Bourne is going to come out and have a meeting with Morgan, who does not look like himself.
No, he does not. But at the same time, he's kind of looking similar to the version of Marcus Morgan that the Braves got in his first start of the summer. 3 walks in 4 innings and the loss to Brewster just over a week ago. He's already handed out 2 walks today and a couple wild pitches. Allowed Joe Oyama to come home. He hasn't even recorded an out.
With Blake on second, Micheletti on first, and nobody out in the top of the first. Orleans already up 1-0. Trimble squares around a bunt again. The pitch is low and gets away from Bodine to his right. The runners advance a base each. Blake to third, Micheletti to second. A disastrous start for Bourne.
Fenwick Trimble in the driver's seat. He has not walked yet this season. You know, you mentioned strikeouts were an issue. 16 strikeouts and 56 at-bats. Sure, that can go down, just like any player here on the Cape, but still in search of his first walk, and he could easily get it.
3-0 is high. There's the walk. It gets away from Bodine. Blake's going to come home and score easily. Micheletti to third. Trimble advances to first on his first walk of the season. A 4-pitch walk from Morgan. Orleans now leads 2-0 in the top of the first with runners on the corners and nobody out, and Jack Penny comes up to bat.
This obviously would put any team in a bind. Very curious to see how manager Scott Landers handles this situation. You know, it's somewhat of a bullpen day for Orleans with Sam Leboki starting. Marcus Morgan is the starter. And Alarm already getting warm in the bullpen along left field for Braves.
First pitch from Morgan to Penny is high and outside for another ball. 13 balls, 5 strikes to start off the game for Marcus Morgan. Jack Penny, who had an incredible game last night. 5 hits for Penny in the 10-1 win. Morgan fires a strike to even up the count. On third is Micheletti Jr. He walked. On first is Trimble. He walked. Penny up to bat in the left-handed batter's box. 1-1 from Morgan. It's popped behind short. Going to be a tough play. Back goes Vastine into shallow left and caught by the left fielder Harrelson, who had to go a long way to make the catch, about 10 feet behind the infield dirt for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, Vastine was all over that as well from short. Tough play to make. I thought it was going to drop, and Jack Penny was going to get a blooper that would have scored Eddie Micheletti at third. Instead, the defense bailing out Marcus Morgan and making sure that weak contact doesn't turn into a cheap hit for Jack Penny, who's been scorching hot.
Runner still in the corners. 1 out. Johnny Olmstead. 4 hits for him last night. A triple short of the cycle. A double to right. A single up the middle. And it squares around a bunt. Pulls it back. It's a strike. Getting his signals from hitting coach and third base coach Max Fesky. Micheletti on third and Trimble still at first with 1 out. 2-0 Orleans in the top of the first. Morgan's 0-1. Olmstead into center. Dropping quickly and it'll get down. Trimble the second. He's safe there. Micheletti couldn't come home as it was very close to being caught by Stanfield in center. Would have been a tough read either way. Trimble slides in a second safely. Bases loaded for the Firebirds. With 1 out, Jake Hyde is the batter.
Chris Stanfield is one of the best athletes in the country. And I don't say that lightly. You play at Auburn, you play center field. He played that about as perfectly as you could have to keep Eddie Micheletti.
Hyde up the middle. Going to be a double play. Vastine on to first for 2. Steps on the bag. Fires to first on the first pitch. An inning that could have gone much, much worse for the Braves. Ends with the Birds scoring 2, leaving the bases loaded. 2-0 Orleans here on the Birds Broadcast Network as we go to the bottom of the first.
Reform Act prohibits
2-0 the score here in Bourne with the Firebirds taking an early 2-0 lead in the top of the first, led by some walks, a few wild pitches. They leave the bases loaded, however. Still up 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the first, and in not a new pitcher to the Birds, but a new starting pitcher for the Birds.
Yes, it's Sam Leboke from Vanderbilt, making his 3rd appearance on the summer, but his first start. And this is kind of a new role for him. He obviously plays for one of the best programs in the country, but with the Commodores, he's a bullpen guy. Very good one. But his 2 appearances this summer, both of them for Orleans, have been under 2 innings pitched. His last coming in the 3-2 win at Brewster on the 27th. Pitched an inning, gave up a run off a walk and a strikeout. Also plunked the batter as well. It was a rainy day from Brewster. Plunked 2 batters. Lost a little of his control. Rain stopped. He was able to settle in. Only gave up 1 run after loading the bases with nobody out. So he can handle high-pressure situations, but this is a new kind of situation for him.
Not expected to go too long in this game. 40 to 45 pitches is what they're thinking, what they're expecting from Leboke. Chris Stanfield from Auburn, the center fielder, almost came up with the ball in the top of the first, could not. Has an interesting colored bat, red on the handle. And then right in the middle, it becomes a teal blue. The first pitch from Leboke is fouled off right at home plate by Stanfield.
Almost reminds me a little bit of a slice of watermelon.
I see that.
Red on the handle, and then like a greenish blue up top.
I know a lot of people love, of course, watermelon. Some people even eat the green part. I heard that's supposed to be good for you.
I don't eat watermelon, period.
Interesting.
It's too healthy for me.
Too healthy. The 0-1 to Stanfield is outside for a ball from Leboke. An interesting story on him. Ended up feeling a pop in his arm against Georgia 2 years ago in 2021 of April. Threw another pitch. He thought it was normal. Ground ball to short. Blake, low throw, scooped up in the dirt by Olmstead. 3 pitches in, 1 out. The 6-3 put out of Stanfield. Up comes Jonathan Vastine from Vanderbilt. It's the Vanderbilt battle right here.
Number 2, Jonathan
Commodore against Commodore. Going back 2 years off is what Leboke had to take. 678 days between that game against Georgia and his next appearance. He said he was ready for the 2022 season, However, he needed to be on the roster to start the season, and he didn't know if he was going to be ready. Ball one high to Vastine. Ended up coming back this season. Was the most trusted arm out of that Vandy bullpen. The one who was fouled back by Vastine.
So hard to bounce back from a surgery like that. Not only missed the second half of 2021, all of 2022, 680 days away from the game, and was still really good as a reliever for Vandy.
1-1 over the third baseman. Penny's headed into left field. Micheletti will cut it off. Vastine's going to go for two. The throw from Micheletti is late. Vastine slides in head first for a double.
We've seen a few Vandy on Vandy boy battles this summer. Saw Grayson Carter, another reliever for this Firebirds team, battle Yarmouth Dennis's R.J. Austin. And here tonight, a really great hit that drops along the left field line and pins Eddie Micheletti in a corner. That's a tough throw to make. And Vastine shows you that Vandy athleticism and stretches it into an extra base hit.
Vastine on second. First hit of the day for Bourne, who trail 2-0 here in the bottom of the first between Orleans and Bourne. The first matchup here at Doran Park. The batter is Caden Bodine, the catcher, who had to work real hard in the top of the first. 3 wild pitches from Morgan, a few runners taken off for the next bases, and both runners, Oyama and Blake, who came around to score, scored on wild pitches. Leboki takes a look at second, fires the first pitch to Bodine, who goes the opposite way into left. Micheletti is under it and makes the catch. A line drive, but Micheletti was positioned perfectly to catch the line drive from Bodine for out number 2.
It's a well-hit ball from Caden Bodine.
Now batting,
one of the best freshmen in the whole country this past season with Coastal Carolina. He's hit a lot of balls hard so far during his time here with Bourne. Leboki knows the speed of Vastine at second. He's already got 5 stolen bases through 9 games here with the Bravos.
Kendall Diggs out of Arkansas digs into the box. 2 outs, and he's hit in the front leg, the lefty. His right knee tapped by the pitch from Leboki. He'll take first base. 2 runners on for Bourne with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first, and the batter is Garrett Michelle.
That's now back-to-back appearances for Leboki in which he has struck a batter. I know it's not the craziest stat in the world, but you've got to watch out how far in that pitch is running, especially to lefty batters.
Garrett Michelle out of Virginia Tech, up in a big spot in the bottom of the first. First pitch is inside from Leboki to the lefty Michelle. The rising junior standing at 6 foot in the left-handed batter's box. 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss under Leboki's pitch.
An interesting win last night for Bourne, and it ended in a walk-off walk with the bases loaded for Garrett Michelle. Came up in a big spot yesterday.
The easiest walk-off of his life, I assume. 1-1 is into left center. Back goes Micheletti. He's got room, and he'll make the catch. Leboki works in, works out of trouble, as the Birds keep the 2-0 lead going to the top of the second here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network, Marcus Morgan is out for inning number 2. And he gave up 2 in the top of the first. However, it seems and feels like Orleans kind of left a few out there physically and literally when it comes to base runners.
Well, obviously, a double play to end the inning from Jake Hyde. Johnny Olmstead had a single in a center field, which was well played by Chris Stanfield at Auburn. But an interesting decision from Eddie Micheletti not to take off from third. I know he's not the fastest guy. It was well played by Stanfield. You could have maybe at least gotten another run there, and it ended a double play. So Morgan, he's got to feel a little bit relieved knowing he only walked out of that, giving up 2 runs.
Speaking of walks, he had 3 in the top of the first, also allowed 2 hits. Henry Hunter is the batter from the left side out of UAB, the 8-hitter for the Firebirds. To start this top of the second, fouls the first pitch off, third base side out of play. Morgan threw 24 pitches in the top of the first, with 14 of them being out of the strike zone. He'll deal from the windup, the 0-1 to Hunter, which is high. Henry in an 0 for 12 skid right now. Going day on, day off, switching with Owen Carpellotti. 1-1 is outside with the fastball. Ian, what are you seeing from Hunter at the plate right now that maybe isn't going his way?
Well, obviously a big thing for him is working on the strikeout numbers.
2-1 is outside now, 3-1.
And it's great to see him getting in a hitter's count here where he can be a little more comfortable, a little more loose. Did have over a 30% strikeout rate at Alabama Birmingham in the spring. That's a number that he wants, obviously, to go down.
The 3-1 is outside. It won't be a strikeout. It'll be a walk. The 4th walk of the day for Marcus Morgan comes in the second, and it's a leadoff walk to Henry Hunter to start the inning. Jake Casey, the 9-hitter for the Firebirds, who had a big hit in the 9th inning to definitely get his confidence going last night.
He did, and he's now taken on a little bit of a bigger role for this team, not only from the plate, but playing in center field tonight. Him and Eddie King making up for the loss of Austin Overn, who went off to USA Baseball's collegiate training camp in Cary, North Carolina. So he's going to have to continue to contribute like that every night.
Hunter is off first. A second pick-off attempt is unsuccessful. Casey came into the game last night as a defensive replacement and also to get some at-bats under his belt with Eddie King. Him and Eddie have been rotating in and out. A ball low to Casey for the first pitch of the at-bat. Morgan, who hasn't found his groove yet. The 0-1, another pitch outside, continuously missing to that arm side as a righty outside to lefties.
And it's a lefty-heavy lineup for a reason. It presents a lot of issues to opposing teams. One more due up next in Joe Oyama.
Trying to flip over the order. Casey swings and misses at a 2-0 fastball inside. Hunter on first. Orleans up 2-0 in the top of the second. Both runs that scored for Orleans came around on a wild pitch. 2 different ones, and 3 total for Morgan in the first inning. The 2-1, a changeup. Casey a little bit late on it.
This is big for Morgan, to see guys swinging and missing at his stuff, which is great. And there's a reason why you're the Friday night starter for Iowa. He's starting to display it.
The 2-2 to Casey pulls it foul. Right past the Firebirds dugout. And we have our different opinions in terms of standings for stadiums, but this has to be one of the top backdrops in the league.
Oh, it's beautiful. Picturesque, trees way in the background, some construction towards right field. It's not most beautiful, but it stands out in the sun.
The 2-2, another foul ball pulled into the Firebirds dugout. Everyone jumped out of the way.
Yeah, Kelly Nicholson with the quick feet. I mean, we know he can dance over there. He's proven it to us. A little gritty action before a game a few days ago.
Wish we got that on video. Would have been great for the socials.
You know, he's approaching 400 wins. That would have been the headline of that video.
2-2 again, a swing and a miss, a slider inside and low to the lefty Casey. First strikeout of the night for Morgan is of Jake Casey, and now he'll face Joe Oyama for the second time.
And that's what Morgan does. I mean, that's why he's a starter at Iowa. He's got 3 different pitches that he gets a whiff with there. First the fastball, then the changeup, then the slider, a little low and away. And each time he gets a whiff because they're just such vastly different pitches.
Oyama once again from the left side. fourth straight lefty. He'll lay down a bunt right in front of home plate. Picking up his Bodine. He has no play, but rounding second, he doesn't know where the ball is. It's Hunter. Now he's in a pickle between second and third. Hunter goes between. Oyama takes second. Hunter's tagged out. Henry Hunter thought that Bodine threw the ball to first, but smart of the catcher. He pump faked the throw, and Hunter was already around second, heading to third, looking to take an extra bag. Second out of the inning for Orleans. Smart play by Caden Bodine, the catcher. Oyama stands at second, and Andy Blake is the batter.
That's a tough spot. Bodine played that as well as you could have, and Henry Hunter was stuck in no man's land in between second and third. Wise of Oyama to realize he could squeeze a base out of that, though. Keep somebody in scoring position for Orleans.
Hunter stayed in the pickle long enough for Oyama to take second. He dances off the base. First pitch is way outside. Bodine lunges to keep it in front of him to Andy Blake. A walk to the new Duke man. He'll be a Blue Devil in the fall after 4 years at Columbia. Had 2 sac flies last night, if you take it with a grain of salt. 3 sac flies, that leads the team for Andy Blake. 1-0, swing and a miss on the slider. Morgan seems to look to get his confidence back after a good play by his defense.
Defense helping out a pitcher. It certainly doesn't hurt. Andy Blake, he had a great summer. He is draft eligible, but there's a reason why he wants to go to Duke and prove he can get it done on the biggest of stages, just like he is here on the Cape.
1-1 the count. Another swing and a miss. Another tight slider from Morgan, who's looking to get back to his groove, back to what made him so great at Iowa. Oyama on second, 1-2 the count with the Firebirds up 2-0 in the top of the second. Blake stands with his knees bent, shaking his wrists. Outside again with the fastball. Bodine almost taken down from the heat from Morgan.
Bodine is already dirtied up, just like any catcher would be, but he has really had to work tonight for the Braves, and he's quickly established himself as one of the better catchers on the Cape.
2-2, 2 outs with Oyama at second. Morgan gives him a long look. The 2-2, a swing and a miss. 3 sliders from Morgan gets Blake chasing. Second strikeout of the inning, second strikeout of the night for Morgan as he works through the second scoreless. We'll go to the bottom of the second. 2-0 Firebirds on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network, 2-0 your score. Orleans over Bourne here at Doran Park. No cross on the Bourne Bridge for us today. Loboki looking across the bridge of the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Braves, and he did so with Diggs and Michelle. Now he has to face Joshua Kuroda-Grauer, Bryce Eblin, and
Now
Pete
batting, the
Shafrida.
second baseman from Rutgers University,
6,
number
7, 8 in this
Joshua
Bourne order.
Kuroda-Grauer.
2 base runners for them in the first. Loboki worked out of it.
That's what he's done over his last 2 innings pitched. Did it against Brewster on the road earlier this week, getting out of a bases loaded jam, and now he's a starter.
First pitch to Kuroda-Grauer out of Rutgers. Last game against Hyannis, the 4-3 walk-off walk. He had 3 hits last night against the Harbor Hawks. 1-0 is a ground ball to short. Blake goes right through his glove and into center field. Seemed like he tripped on the infield dirt and lost the ball. So Grauer gets on base as it gets past Blake. He stands on first with nobody out.
The third baseman from the University of Alabama.
Kuroda-Grauer catches a break. It was a fine hit ball on the ground, but it was right towards Blake. And he had his glove on it, like you mentioned, but it slipped out of the upper half of it. He wasn't able to clinch it, transfer it into his right-handed throwing arm, and sling it over to Johnny Olmstead, because I do think he tripped up a little bit there.
No official ruling yet. Kuroda Grauer is going on the first pitch. The throw from Hunter is on the bag. He's safe. Kuroda Grauer got his right foot onto the bag before the tag from Blake. It is now officially ruled an E6 on Andy Blake on how Kuroda Grauer got on base, and now he steals second base on the first pitch, which was a strike from Leboki to Bryce Eblin.
13 stolen bases with Rutgers in the spring. The second-year Bravo giving the faithful something to be happy about.
The 0-1 Eblin is high and outside. The lefty out of Alabama playing third base for the Braves tonight. Hitting .258 here on the Cape, 8 for 31 with 6 RBIs. Leboki with another runner in scoring position. 1-1 is pulled into right. It will get down in fair territory. Around third is Kuroda Grauer. Eblin's going to try for 2. The throw from right is in time to get him. Trimble to Blake for the 9-6 putout to cut down the runner. The Braves do score their first run of the game. It will be a single from Eblin. He's cut off at second.
University, number 24, Pete Chufreda.
That's not an easy play to make, and right from Fenwick Trimble. I'd argue some of the best action in the outfield we've seen all summer. Blake right there for the tag. And both teams with some iffy base running over the last inning or so, with Henry Hunter being put in the pickle last frame, and Bryce Eblin there after a great hit.
Pete Chufreda lines it into right. That'll be a base hit. No play for Trimble this time. Chufreda lined the 1-0 pitch off the end of the bat into right field between Oyama and Olmstead at second and first, respectively. So the second hit on the inning, the third base runner for Bourne in the frame is Chufreda at first, and Gage Harrelson from Texas Tech, the 9-hitter in the left-handed batter's box, will come up for the Braves.
Just such a different Braves lineup than it was the first time around. So many big names on this team.
The runner is taken off and will have second easily. Leboki didn't even see him, and before he even lifted his leg, Chufreda was off for second. Another stolen base, the second of the inning for Bourne.
The base running is still potent, and that's what happens when you have a speedy team. There are going to be times where guys get thrown out and take a risk trying to get to second or third, but then you're going to have the other good instances.
One out of Harrison, gets away from Hunter, back to the backstop. This inning almost reminiscent to the first, with base running. Now a wild pitch. Moving on to third is Chufreda with 1 out in the bottom of the second. 2-0 the count to Harrelson, and Henry Hunter is going to meet on the mound with Sam Leboki.
Look, the latest mound visit we saw between Bodine and Morgan, it produced results. This is why pitchers and catchers do this. This is why the battery relationship is so important. You need to be personable, and you need to be a calming presence behind the dish, because all of these guys out on the mound have such great talent, such good stuff, but sometimes it becomes a little too complicated. You've got to simplify and get back to what you do.
Infield is in for the Firebirds. Runner on third, Chufreda. 2-0 the count with 1 out. Swing and a miss from the lefty, Harrelson. Blake, Penny, Oyama, and Olmstead all in on the grass. Looking to cut down the tying run. 2-1 the score with the Firebirds in front. The 2-1 pitch lined right at Penny. What a catch. Lifted his left hand. It went right into the glove. Hard hit off the bat of Harrelson. A better catch from Penny for the second out of the inning.
Now batting.
Infield's playing in, but that's still not an easy play to make if you're Jack Penny. As you mentioned, just lifts that left leg and effortlessly makes the snag and grins from third, where he has been excellent defensively.
The infield moves back to the top of the order. A first pitch strike is fired to Chris Stanfield. Grounded out to short last time up. It's been a bit of a sloppy inning for the Firebirds as they give up 1. The 0-1 line into center field for a base hit. Stanfield will reach, coming to score from third is Jafrida. A tie game here in the bottom of the second will draw a mound visit from Kelly Nicholson.
Now batting, the shortstop from
Nicholson
Vanderbilt
stares
University,
down the
number 2,
bullpen in right
Jonathan
field.
Bastine.
It was already expected to be a bit of a shorter day for Sam Leboki, a reliever for Vandy and not a usual starter for Orleans. And it appears his day is done as the hits start to rain down here from Doran.
The arm comes in from the bullpen. We'll tell you about him when we come back from break on the Birds Broadcast Network. 2 from the Braves in the bottom of the second tie the game. Bottom of the second, we have 4 runs already, 2 for each team. Derek Clark is the new pitcher out of Northwood University from the D2 level. But Ian, he's been pitching like a top D1 pitcher for the Firebirds this year.
He has, and he's currently in the transfer portal too after Northwood's head coach left for the job at Central Michigan. Wouldn't be surprised to see Clark take his game to another level if he goes back to the collegiate level. This is going to be his 5th appearance for Orleans, all of them out of a bullpen, and all of them have gone at least 2 innings. And in his first appearance, it came against Bourne, in which he was given the win all the way back on June 12th. In the 6-4 win for Orleans, went 4 shutout out of a bullpen, giving up 3 hits, but also striking out 4 and not walking anybody. This Braves team, the coaching staff, Scott Landers, he knows what he's got, but this is a really new lineup for Scott Landers' team, so they're probably unfamiliar with what the 5'8", 185-pound Michigander brings, because he brings it.
Brings it not in terms of velocity, but in terms of pitch sequencing, in terms of control, and how his fastball, which we've been told moves like
the shortstop
a
from Vanderbilt
fastball you've never
University,
seen before. It
number 2,
moves to the
Jonathan
right. He
Bastine.
comes from the left side, Clark does, and he'll face the lefty in Jonathan Vastine, who doubled in the first against Hoboki. From Vandy, the starter for the Firebird. The check-in at first on Stanfield. So Hoboki's final line will be determined by Stanfield at first. 2 outs, bottom 2, 2-2 the score. Clark's first pitch is a little bit low to Vastine.
Vastine doubled down the left field line his first time up. As you mentioned, that was against Leboki, his Vandy teammate. Now a much different look against Clark.
Clark stares at Stanfield at first. He's going to go. Pick off to first. Olmstead to second. Perfect throw. Perfect tag for the out. Clark doesn't even have to get Vastine. They get the runner on first as Stanfield went too early. We'll go to the third. Score is 2-2 on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The game is tied 2-2 heading to the top of the third. Now, even though Sam Lavoki didn't have the most ideal start tonight, he's excited to continue to grow here in the Cape Cod League and has said he came here to fine-tune his skills and go up against some of the best hitters in the entire country. He also noted how special it is to play summer ball alongside his college teammate and fellow Vanderbilt pitcher in Grayson Carter. These two are so happy that they get to spend the summer together, and because they came from regionals to Orleans later than the rest of the team, it was comforting to see a familiar face in a brand new setting. So it'll be very exciting to see these Vandy boys in Orleans for the whole summer. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. Grayson Carter, who's not only been good on the stat sheet for the Firebirds, but also been good in terms of the velocity, the hardest thrower in the Cape Cod Baseball League as up to this point, upwards of 99 miles per hour. Marcus Morgan is back to the mound for Bourne in the top of the third. He'll face Micheletti Jr., Trimble, and Penny. In the second inning, he looked still a little bit shaky, Ian, but his defense helped him out a lot.
It did, and I think you and I were talking about it a little bit. Due to the Orleans offense,
Micheletti takes a strike on the off-speed.
Leaving a little bit left on the base paths in that first inning. Maybe a little bit of sigh of relief, and he feels comfortable.
The 0-1 is ground ball right up the middle, moving to his left. Vastine makes the throw to first for the out.
I mean, his team's got his back. He's here for a reason. One of the best pitchers in the Big 12 at Iowa. Big 10. That's now the third time's the charm on the conference.
Don't worry, the conferences are
realigned.
crazy now.
It's crazy.
You don't know who's where.
Exactly. He feels a lot more confident. He's getting deep into his pitch mix, and he's landing a lot of them for strikes. Couldn't say that in the first.
Trimble takes a first pitch strike at the bottom of the zone from Morgan, who has 4 walks on the day. Has allowed 3 hits, only 2 runs. 0-1 to Trimble, swing and a miss on the fastball. That's overpowering. Trimble walked back in the first and only made it to second before the Jake Hyde double play to end the jam. 0-2, outside. Trimble stays alive. A calm day here in Bourne with traffic amok, or what we're told. 1-2, swing and a miss by Trimble. Didn't get a piece of it as it dove down into the dirt. Strikeout number 3 for Morgan. And the second out of the third.
And all of the strikeouts for Morgan of the swinging variety just shows how unpredictable his pitches are as they make their way towards the plate. It's just nasty. We didn't see it in the first. The last 2 innings, looks like the guy is advertised.
So no one on base, 2 outs. Jack Penny takes a ball in the dirt. Penny flew out to shallow left. Good play by Harrelson. He came in and made a good catch. 2-0 now as the fastball runs inside. Penny leads the team with 15 hits, and how could he not after 5 last night? 2-0 is high and outside by Morgan. Almost got away from Bodine. Sports a .306 average, does Penny, with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. Has been definitely the most consistent hitter over the last week for Orleans, and walks on 4 pitches with 2 outs in the top of the third.
That's what Jack Penny has provided in the middle of its lineup. You know, an argument can be made that he should be batting even higher than 5th. But I think he's perfect right in the middle heart of this order because he does a little bit of everything. He's hit for power, he's hit for average, and he's getting on base. Just really good at bats over the last week and a half from Penny, and the numbers are starting to show.
Penny's on first. Johnny Olmstead swinging first pitch, lines it into right, but right at Shafrida. Makes the catch for out number 3 after hard contact to the opposite field from the USC rising graduate student. We'll go to the bottom of the third. 2-2, still the score on the Birds Broadcast Network. It's the first day of July as we enter the second month of the Cape Cod baseball season. Game number 18 for both of these teams. Firebirds at 8-9, and Bourne, after a disastrous start to the season, are 9-8-1.
Now batting, the shortstop
This
from
game
Vanderbilt University, number
19
2,
for
Jonathan.
them. Good math by me.
That's why we talk for a living.
The first batter is Vastine, Jonathan. Out of Vanderbilt, he was up in the second. Didn't get a chance to swing the bat. He does here on a pitch in the dirt for strike one from Clark. Derek Clark came in with 2 outs and a runner on first. He picked off Stanfield. Olmstead threw it to Blake to tag out the runner. Didn't have to do much heavy lifting. Another swing and a miss on a ball, diving down on speed to Vastine, who's coming in hitting .269 with 7 RBIs for these Braves.
Had a really productive summer last year in Duluth in the Northwoods League. Probably face off with Clark.
0-2 is low. Everyone we've talked to from the Northwoods League is told that Derek Clark really built his legacy there, and now is starting to build a pretty good one here.
Dominating in, I think, the best summer ball league in the country, but it's not here on the Cape Cod Baseball League. Tons of game, tons of experience. It's tough.
1-2 to Vastine is into center. Over comes Casey. It's dropping quickly. Casey with a diving catch. A shallow fly ball. Jake Casey was playing really deep. Came in, laid out a little bit to his left, and makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
It's a monumental catch from Jake Casey. He gets a little stickum in that hair. The hat flies anytime he makes a move in center field. But it looks pretty sweet when you get the result like that. He's a really good athlete. He hasn't been able to showcase it as much as that's a first pitch ball. He shows it there. That's his best play in center all season.
Caden Bodine, the batter at a Coastal. Lined out to left his first time up. Swings and misses at the 1-1 from Clark. 1 out. Casey with a diving catch as the defense getting better and better for the Firebirds. Bodine chops this over the mound. In comes Oyama. He'll have to cross his body. He does. The throw's wide. Olmstead comes off the bag. Bodine's going to reach. Almost a collision between Oyama and Blake as the shortstop, Blake, was coming toward the ball. Oyama had to not only retrieve it, but throw across his body. Oyama got there first, but couldn't make an accurate throw for the out. And the catcher, the 3-hitter for Bourne, reaches.
Just a little friendly fire between Oyama and Blake. It would have been an unbelievable play if they could have pulled it off. Communication's got to be just a bit tighter. It's a tough play to make, though.
It seems like that's definitely probably Andy Blake's play, Ian, as he is coming toward the ball. His momentum's moving toward first.
I would agree. And he's got the range and the track record at short, one of the better shortstops in the country, to make that play and be the guy who should make that play.
First pitch ball high to Kendall Diggs. He was hit by a pitch in the first from Leboki. Bodine's on first. 5 hits already for Bourne as we sit here in the bottom of the third with 1 out. Clark, long look at Bodine. Fires toward the plate. A little bit low to Diggs. Now 2-0. The lefty Clark, as we said, is not going to blow you away with velocity. Low 90s, at times high 80s. But is so efficient and so successful with how his pitches move. 2-0 to Diggs. Top of the zone for a strike.
You know, you were catching up with pitching coach Jim Lawler before the game, and something that I think can be talked about with Clark. He was talking about Daniel Levidia, last night's starter. These guys are just strike throwers. They get it done.
2-1. Check swing. Did he go? He did. Diggs maybe not in agreement as he bends his knees. It will be called a strike. 2-2 now the count as the second base umpire ruled it a swing. We're not going to get into that just yet, but Ian, continue on.
Daniel Levidia, he just pounds his own. He doesn't throw the hardest. Same thing with Derek Clark.
2-2. Cold strike 3. Diggs rung up on the off-speed pitch. That gets the inside part of the plate to the lefty. First strikeout for Derek Clark.
Now batting, the first baseman from Virginia
over
Tech,
250
19,
career innings
Michelle.
pitched at Northwood at the Division II level in Michigan. Over 250 career strikeouts. Throws in the low 90s. Jokes that his stuff isn't the best. He knows it. He's in command of what he throws.
A first pitch strike with the fastball fired to Garrett Michelle. also flew out to left back in the first. The lefty, another of the variety for Scott Lander's crew here in Bourne. Check over on Bodine, who's at first. 2 outs with 1 strike on the batter, Michelle. Clark turns and fires, high for ball 1. Wind going from right to left, as told by the big American flag in center.
And I believe a Cape Cod League flag under it. Much smaller.
Good combination. Michelle's bat flies out of his hands on the swing and miss. And almost into the stands. Completely lost track and lost control of the bat. He's picked up by a fan, but now Kelly Nicholson's going to call for it. Michelle says, I need a bat.
That's unbelievable. Kelly Nicholson's just grinning.
Nicholson laughing. Now Joey Cooper is going to complete the transaction. Right back to Michelle. A young fan in a Firebirds uniform actually picked it up.
That's a sweet jersey you could probably pick up at Eldridge at a home game. Orleans will be at home over the next 3 days. A little 23 jersey, probably for the year, I'd assume. That he wanted that bat so badly. Gary Michelle, where's my bat?
Didn't want to use another. Why use another? Lost the bat. 1-2 the count with 2 strikes. And that's strike 3. Stringing and missing is Michelle. Back-to-back Ks for Clark to end off the third. Second for Clark. Third out of the inning. We go to the fourth. 2-2, still the score. A wacky game. Control for the pitchers, not the best. 3 wild pitches from Marcus Morgan. 1 wild pitch from the Firebirds. And a wild bat in the last half frame. Garrett Michelle on the 1-1 pitch. Swings and misses. The bat goes into the stands. Picked up by a fan. And Ian, maybe he'll not come away with Garrett Michelle's bat. He's going to come away with another one.
No, I mean, Bourne, a standout organization. You don't win the CCBL championship and appear in the last 2 if you're not a classy town. The kid had to give the bat back to Kelly Nicholson, who in return handed it over to Garrett Michelle. But then moments later, a young fan was approached by somebody who works for Bourne and said, come over to the concession stand. We'll get you a new one. Pretty sweet. That kid jumped on it. He'll get a bat as a result.
Jake Hyde swings his black bat. Takes a ball high from Marcus Morgan in his 4th inning of work. 2-2 the score as we stand in the top of the 4th. The Iowa man against Georgetown Hyde, who pulls one foul, first base side. Hyde grounded into a double play. The shortstop Vastine stepped on second and threw to first for the 2nd out and 3rd out of the inning. It was with bases loaded and 1 out. 1-1 fouled away. Morgan, whose pitch count is climbing. Upcoming will be pitch number 56. With 9 outs under his belt. The 1-2, Hyde right behind third. Going back is Eblin. Now the shortstop reaching up and making the catch is Vastine. Into shallow left field. Gorgeous play from Vastine.
A big fan of his, obviously, Vanderbilt's head coach, Tim Corbin. Not easy to be called one of the best pure athletes on one of the best pure teams in college baseball, but that's exactly the praise he got from Corbin. Good offensively, and his range allows him to be great at short.
It was behind third. Eblin had no chance. Vastine was the only player who could make the catch, and he did. First pitch strike fired to Henry Hunter, who walked in the second and was thrown out on the base paths. 0-1, fouled onto the on-deck circle where Jake Casey stands. He was rounding second after a bunt by Oyama got him over to first. But the catcher, Bodine, smartly pump-faked the throw and tagged out Hunter in the pickle. 0-2, called strike three. A three-pitch strikeout for Morgan. His fourth of the night. Gets Henry Hunter for the second out in the fourth.
And all four of those strikeouts have come in the last 3 innings. It just looks like night and day. Day and night. At night. Good song by Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi, that's right. Jake Casey, the batter from the left side. 2 outs, bases empty, takes the first pitch ball high and away. Casey tied for the team lead in home runs with 2. The 1-0 hits him. Jake Casey takes it in the back of his front leg, almost in the calf area, the lower part of his leg, and he'll take first base after the fastball smacks him in the calf.
Headed into tonight, he was not only tied for the most home runs on this team, he was also tied for the most hit by pitches on this team. And now he firmly has the lead in that category with 4, surpassing Matt Hallback, who got plunked 3 times in his Firebirds debut a couple weeks back.
Casey takes a few steps behind first, and now he'll take his lead off the base. Joe Oyama comes up for the 3rd time. 1 for 2 on the day with a single in the first and a fielder's choice in the second. 2 outs, top 4 of a tie game, 2-2. Oyama swing and a miss on a slider, inside and low. That seems like the pitch that's really working for Morgan today, Ian.
It has been. It's been his put-away pitch, his swing and miss pitch. A couple solid offerings. That one stood out.
0-1 up the middle. Oyama gets it past the shortstop Vastine, who dove. He couldn't come up with it. Second hit of the day for Joe Oyama moves Casey to second. And with 2 outs, the Firebirds have a little bit of a rally coming.
The shortstop from Duke University, number 35, Andy.
Joe Oyama looking like the same Joe Oyama who had reached base in 10 consecutive games since his debut as a Firebird in a shortened game against Wareham. He can drive the ball into the outfield. He's only 5'7", 170 pounds, but fundamentally so sound.
Marcus Morgan, a hit by pitch, now a single against him. Has to face Andy Blake, throws a first pitch slider down and outside to Blake, who struck out in the second, walked in the first, and came around to score the Firebirds' second run in that first frame. The 1-0 is a fastball outside. Last time up, Morgan had Blake's number with the slider. 3 sliders, 3 swings, and misses from Blake. Falls behind 2-0 quickly to the right-hand hitter. With 2 runners on, 2 outs in the top of the 4th. Morgan looks at second, fires to home plate on the low and outside corner for a strike. Eddie Micheletti on deck. Casey at second, Oyama at first.
Trying to find a pitch closer towards the heart of a plate that Blake can drive into the outfield.
2-1, fouls it right off his leg in the box, evening the count at 2-2.
Blake just been so steady for this team towards the top of the order over the last week or so, generating multiple hits in what seems like almost every single game.
With 3 more last night. 2-2, 2 outs, 2 runners on. Blake pops it up in the infield to first base. Michelle is under it and makes the catch. So 2 runners got on for the Firebirds with 2 outs. However, they couldn't convert, and we stick at 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the 4th.
And exciting the next
Back
generation
for
of
the
baseball
bottom of
players
the
and
fourth.
fans. Learn how to bring the most
Between the
accurate data
Firebirds
analytics to
and
your
the Bourne
organization by
Braves.
visiting
2-2 the score here at
baseballcloud.com.
Doran Park on the Birds Broadcast Network. Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas, our sideline reporter Sammy Miller, joining us soon in the top of the sixth. And Derek Clark, he got the last out in the second, fired a scoreless third, and now is back for the fourth.
Clark worked through
Now
a
batting,
bit of a
the second
jam
baseman
last
from
inning.
Rutgers University, number 13,
Just get ahead in
Joshua
the count.
Kuroda
That's the key for
Grauer.
him. Not going to be easy against somebody in Josh Kuroda Grouter, who knows how to deliver in big spots and delivered 3 hits and was named player of the game for Bourne last night.
Kuroda Grauer went at bat. He reached on an error by Blake, came around to score after a stolen base of second. Wild pitch allowed him to get over to third. Swings and fouls off the first pitch into the glove of Henry Hunter. For strike one from Clark. 4 outs under his belt already. Fires a pitch outside. 1-1 now to the Rutgers righty. Wearing navy blue with the Braves right across his chest. Clark's pitch is outside and low. 2-1 the count. 4 hits for the Firebirds and 5 for the Braves. Each team with an error as well. Two and one is high and outside. Kuroda Grauer, 4 for 12 on the year, so a small sample size of, if you do the math right, a .333 average and 1 RBI. Started out the year 1 for 9, and now will walk to lead off the fourth.
It's pretty incredible that Kuroda Grouter has shown no signs of slowing down this season with
Now
Bourne.
batting, the third
Was a
baseman from
monster
University
during
of
his
Alabama,
sophomore season
number
at
9,
Rutgers.
Bryce
Was
Evelyn.
invited to compete with USA Baseball's training camp at the collegiate level in Cary, North Carolina. Sustained a thumb injury in the season opener against Brewster. Couldn't go to Cary. Was a big dugout guy for this team in the 10 days that he wasn't playing. He's got right back into it and has been just as good as he was with Rutgers.
Almost picked off by Clark. Kuroda Grauer with a huge lead at first. Olmstead slapping the tag, but just a little bit too late. The batter is Bryce Evelyn. Third baseman singled back in the second. Another check over on the runner. 2-2 is where we stand with nobody out and the runner at first. And at the plate is Evelyn, the lefty. Clark gives Kuroda Grauer a long stare. Evelyn looked to bunt. He got hit with the pitch. It went off his bat. They're going to call it a foul ball. He squared around a bunt, tried to get out of the way, but he couldn't. I believe it hit the knob of his bat. So he'll stay at the plate and is awarded, I should say, or given a strike.
Not much more you could do about that if you're Evelyn. Similar thing happened to Eddie King last night. Just got a piece of the bat, lands into the dirt.
Another check over, and he's out. Clark picks off Kuroda Grauer.
I mentioned Kuroda Grouter is a really good dugout guy for this team. Maybe he took it a little too literally as he heads back to the dugout. That's a risky run. Some pitchers are better at controlling the run game than others. And Derek Clark, he knew he had him dead to rights. Great pickoff throw.
Eblin's 0-1, a swing and a miss from Eblin. Clark didn't take a step. He just stepped off and immediately fired over to first. Olmstead with the tag and got the out. Clears the bases. 0-2 to Eblin. Line drive into the glove of Andy Blake. Leaping up and making the catch was the tall shortstop for out number 2. The defense of the Firebirds continues to show out.
Now batting, the right fielder
I don't
from
even know if he
Rutgers
needed a
University,
leap.
number 24,
I think it was more
Pete
reactionary because he leaped, but the glove was almost covering his face more towards his neck chest area when he made the catch. For dramatic effect, yes. For practicality, not really, but who cares?
Pete Shafrida swing and a miss. Clark looking to get into a little bit of a groove. The diving catch from Casey last inning. Ball was fired low. And now another great catch by the Firebirds defense in terms of the shortstop, Andy Blake. Off-speed pitch, curls into the zone. 1-2 with 2 outs, bases empty, bottom 4. Clark fires, fastball high and away for ball 2. Chafrida, the homer on the season and 3 RBIs. Singled home Kuroda Grauer in the second. The 2-2, he swings and misses. Hunter blocks it up, gets to the inside of the plate and fires to Olmsted to complete the strikeout. Clark works through a wonky fourth with one runner reaching, one runner taken off the bases. 2-2 still the score, and Ian Nicholas will take over on the play-by-play when we come back.
Top of the fifth on a Saturday night from Doran Park. Orleans knotted up with the defending champion Braves. 2-2, and out on the mound for his fifth inning of work, Dylan, Marcus Morgan. If we said that after the first inning, we'd be crazy, but that's reality. 69 pitches in for him.
Yeah, and he's been pitching pretty well after his first inning that kind of went awry. The Firebirds, like we said, they kind of left a little bit of meat on the bone in that first inning. It felt like an inning that they could have put up more than 2 runs, and they haven't had a run since. But Morgan's out to kind of complete his outing that's been good after the first.
5 walks. A lot of them came early on. 3 of them in the first inning. 4 strikeouts. His first pitch to the lefty, Micheletti, is a ball, 1-0 on the outside corner. Micheletti 0 for 1 tonight. Walked in the first, grounded out in the third. Foul ball down the first base line. Evens the count, 1-1.
Morgan, which is allowed 4 hits, 5 walks, like you said, and also a hit by pitch. So 10 base runners through 4, but he's made his way through it.
His 1-1 offering misses low. Micheletti gets ahead. The 6'1", 205-pound rising senior, currently in the transfer portal after 3 years at George Washington. 2-1 pitch, low and in. Micheletti shifts towards his right, gets out of the way, takes ball 3.
Morgan, who's lost his control, he's allowed leadoff base runners in all but 1 of his 4 innings.
Behind an account 3-1, with Micheletti leading off in the 5th. Misses upstairs, and there's a 5-pitch leadoff walk for Micheletti. His 2nd of the night, and the 6th handed out by Marcus Morgan in just 4 innings of work.
The right fielder from James Madison University.
The Firebirds need to continue to get traffic, and then you get the big hit. It seems to be close to the end of the day, at least for Morgan. He'll stay out there. But another walk now. 7 free passes, 6 being walks and 1 being hit by pitch.
1 on, nobody out. The go-ahead run for Orleans in a 2-2 game on first, thanks to the leadoff walk from Eddie Micheletti. And here's the right-handed Fenwick Trimble, who's also walked today. Popped up on the first pitch, foul. 0-1. Trimble was the 3rd straight Firebird to walk in the first inning against Morgan, and then struck out swinging against the Iowa Hawkeye in the 3rd. 0 for 1. And that's also what he is in behind in the count, 0-1 right now. Righty Morgan stares down Bodine and deals a breaking ball, which misses low and in. Ball 1 to Trimble, the rising junior from James Madison. Steps back in. The red batting gloves, the all-black arm sleeve on his right arm. Waves the bat over his right shoulder. Waits for the 1-1, a check swing that got a piece of Trimble in his left wrist hand area. He takes the bat off. He's in pain as he's plunked by the pitch. And he takes his free bag on first.
That looked like it was the knob of the bat. Trimble's going to take first, of course. Micheletti is going back to first. Now he's going to go to second. Ian, I'm not going to question Fenwick Trimble's hand muscles, but that ball went pretty far down the line. I don't know if that hit him or maybe even hit the knob of the bat. It was a very close call.
Well, you're not the only one who's skeptical, because all the officials, Stephen Williams, the home plate ump, Marvick Gomez at first, and Mike Hinojosa at third. They're all conferencing right now in the infield. Trimble definitely seemed like it got a piece of him, but it also appeared, and at least it kind of sounded like it got a piece of the bat as well. If it stands, and Trimble was plunked by the pitch, the James Madison man's on first. Eddie Micheletti's on second. I don't know if you guys heard that in the background, but it seems like the public address also has an opinion here from Doran Park. It's still tied at 2, top 5, between the Bourne Bravos and the Orleans Firebirds. Still hashing this out are the officials. Again, on a 1-1 pitch, Fenwick Trimble looked like he got hit in the left hand, and now the home plate umpire, Stephen Williams, says it might have hit you in the hand, but it also hit the bat. So it's a foul ball, and Trimble is not hit by pitch. He has to get his bat back, step right back into the right-handed batter's box, and face Marcus Morgan. Eddie Micheletti goes back to first base.
Kelly Nicholson's going to get an explanation. Trimble now will have to face a 1-2 count as well. It was on the 1-1 pitch, and I'm sure it definitely got a piece of Trimble as he took first, but it seemed like, I mean, if it even catched a little splinter of the bat, of course, ruled foul.
Marcus Morgan, he's also probably going to be affected by this as well. Long break in the action. He's trying to get through 5 innings of work in his second start of the summer for Bourne. A break that's lasted upwards of 2 minutes. And now officially it's strike 2 on Fenwick Trimble. He's behind a ball and 2 strikes, with Micheletti on first in a tied 2-2 game in the top of the 5th. And Marcus Morgan ready to throw his 78th pitch of the night. Deals the 1-2. Breaking ball outside. It evens the count.
The most pitches that an opposing pitcher has thrown against the Firebirds this season.
Morgan, the Friday starter for Iowa in the spring, trying to prove he can get it done on the Cape. His 2-2 breaking ball misses low. Back-to-back balls thrown by Morgan since the hit-by-pitch, no hit-by-hit decision. And the count's now full to Micheletti, or I should say to Trimble. Micheletti's on first with nobody out. Morgan's payoff. Misses outside. Ball 4. Walk number 7 on the day for Marcus Morgan on the bump on the second straight to start this inning. Micheletti and Trimble on first and second, both with walks. Scott Landers walking towards the infield. It seems like he's about to take the ball from Marcus Morgan.
Yeah, you can't expect to have much success when you're putting 7 guys on base, and that'll be the end for Morgan, who had some flashes of brilliance in there, especially in the second and the third inning. Couldn't put it all together, especially after a disastrous first, and that'll do it.
4 strikeouts for Morgan. Gave up 2 runs in the first, but what's killed him in his first 2 starts with Bourne, 10 walks in 8 innings pitched. Morgan out, new pitcher in for the Bravos. Orleans an opportunity to cook with 2 runners on and nobody out in a tied game at 2-2 in the top of the 5th. You'll find out who the new arm is for Bourne when we come back in just a few. Marcus Morgan, the Iowa Hawkeye, walked a few guys too many, and he is out of a ball game after 4 innings of 2-run ball for Bourne, but responsible for the runners currently on first and second for Orleans. Eddie Micheletti He's on second. Fenwick Trimble's on first. Both of them walked the lead off the 5th inning. Now, the new pitcher, Matthew McShane from
Now
St.
batting,
Joe's,
the third baseman,
faces
University
the
of
5th
Notre
man
Dame,
of the order,
number 11,
Jack Penny, who has continued to be great tonight. 0 for 1, but he did walk in his last at bat in the 3rd. And the lefty faces the righty McShane, the Pennsylvania native from Bensalem, just outside Philadelphia. Infield playing in, expecting bunt as Penny showed it, pulled it back, and it took a ball in the inside corner, 1-0.
Would be interesting if Penny does bunt here. Bunt towards third would make McShane have to make the play, as Eblin is going to have to retreat toward third to cover the bag.
Garrett Michelle playing well into the grass at first. Penny shows bunt again, up in the count, 1-0. Pulls it back again. Miss high from Matthew McShane, the new pitcher in the game. And he goes behind, 2 balls, no strikes. Making his 4th appearance on the summer. His 2nd against Orleans. Pitched 3 1/3 scoreless against the Birds back on June 12th in a Bourne loss. Penny shows bunt again on the 2-0. Can't get enough of it. Fouled back towards the backstop. Penny still ahead 2-1. The lefty facing the righty, Matthew McShane, with 2 on and nobody out in a tied game at 2-2, top 5.
Penny's got to get this one down, get it down the third base line, get the runners over and do your job. If you get it down first, Michelle's in so much, he might have a play at third.
Michelle still playing in the grass. He's creeping towards the bag. Penny shows bunt again, but pulls it back, only to be handed strike 2 from home plate umpire Stephen Williams. Low and in goes McShane, evening the count.
And now you got to swing away if you're Penny.
That's something he's been pretty good at recently. Penny, the Notre Dame star, on a 7-game hit streak, reached on all 5 of his at-bats last night in Orleans' win. The 2-2 offering is swung on, cracked right to short, gloved by Vastine, and the runners stay at first and second. A line out to short from Jack Penny, retired for the 2nd time tonight. It's the first out of the inning.
Unlucky for Penny.
Batting,
You're 2-1 after a foul bunt attempt. And you get a pitch that was borderline called a strike. Then you, on a 2-2 pitch, first time swinging away, you line one. Good contact, but right into the glove of Vastine over at short.
Somebody who's made good contact recently, Johnny Olmstead, the first baseman, 1 for 2 tonight with a first-inning single. Facing Matthew McShane, who just recorded his first out in relief of Marcus Morgan. A low miss, and Johnny O, as the guys call him in the dugout off the right side of the field from Doran Park, gets ahead 1-0. Micheletti on second, Trimble on first. Both walked against Marcus Morgan. 1 out, tied at 2, top 5. McShane deals outside corner. There's his strike to even the count 1-1. McShane gets a call in the outer half from Williams behind the dish. 4 hits tonight for Orleans, 2 runs to show for it. Both of them came in the first inning off Marcus Morgan. The 1-1 pitch, fouled straight to the backstop, 1-2.
Be a huge missed opportunity here for the Firebirds that started out this inning with 2 straight walks of Micheletti Jr. and Trimble. Olmstead's the guy to do it. Had good contact last night, 3 hits, and good contact again today on a line out to right.
A loud out, as you would call it, to right field in the 3rd inning. The 1-2 pitch from McShane, breaking ball. This one, a high fly to left field. Backing up is Gage Harrelson. There's no play to make it. Bounces right ahead of a wall. Micheletti's on the way home. Trimble stopped at third. Micheletti slides in feet first, safe. It's an RBI double for Johnny Olmstead. And Orleans retakes the lead 3-2 in the top of the 5th.
What a job by Johnny Olmstead. A 2-2 pitch. Curveball, waits on it. He didn't even see the curveball yet. Waited on it and lines it to left over the head of the left fielder Harrelson at the base of the fence, which is a ways away from home plate. Big hit for Johnny Olmstead, and now Jake Hyde up in another big spot.
Olmstead drives in his 8th run of the season. He's trying to score a run, too, with runners on second and third. Hyde comes to the plate, the lefty to face for righty McShane. Hyde blisters one to right. It's foul. 0-1 for the Georgetown Hoya.
And infield is in here for Bourne with second and third. Hyde says he broke his bat. He actually blistered it.
Yes.
Or splintered it.
We've had a bat lead the ballpark out of the hands of first baseman Garrett Michelle for Bourne. And obviously, just like in any wood bat league, finally a broken one.
Johnny Olmstead almost put a ball out of the ballpark with that swing.
By the way, our graphics man, Jasper Oko, he's counting. That's the 11th broken bat on the summer for Orleans in 19 games. That's over half a game.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, Jasper.
Second and third, one out. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss to Hyde. He goes behind 0-2. Grounded into a double play in the first. Flew out to short in the fourth. Trimble off third, he walked. Olmstead off second after his RBI double to left, which scored Eddie Micheletti. The 0-2 pitch, high fastball, fouled away, and popping in and out of a glove of Caden Bodine for strike three. First strikeout for Matthew McShane, the new pitcher, and second out of the inning.
Jake Hyde, his kryptonite has been the high fastball. That was another one right there.
Henry Hunter.
Now the defense can move back, and Henry Hunter up in a big spot. Ian, we talked about it on the pregame show. The Firebirds need a little bit more from the catching position, and this is a great opportunity to do so.
Hunter, 0 for his last 13 from the plate, did walk in the second, went down looking in the fourth. Second and third, 2 out. First pitch swinging, Henry Hunter, a high fly ball to right field, but in front of a wall, Pete Chafreda secures the catch with his left-handed glove. Orleans gets the lead, 3-2, thanks to Johnny Olmstead's double to left. Eddie Micheletti scores, but the Birds leave 2 stranded in scoring position and only lead by 1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th from Doran Park here on the Birds Broadcast Network. I want to take you back to the bottom of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Orleans with the 3-2 lead over Bourne at their home ballpark of Doran. Johnny Olmstead with the RBI double in the top of the inning as the Birds have taken their second lead of the day, and Derek Clark still toes the rubber for his 4th inning of work. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. Clark working wonders, filling in for Sam Haboki, who can only get through just under 2 innings.
Yeah, Leboki, who kind of left Clark with an interesting jam with 1 runner on and 2 outs. He got the pickoff, and ever since he's been really, really good. A 3rd inning that he got through with only 1 runner allowed, and then the 4th inning started off with a walk, and it didn't look too good. He got the line out. He got the runner off base as well with the throw down, and then a strikeout of Chafrida. Can Clark continue to give outs and big middle relief outs to this Orleans team?
The bottom of the order due up. It's 9-1-2 as Clark deals to the lefty Gage. Harrelson, who showed bunt, never pulled it back. He already took a step towards first, thinking he'd make some contact. And the Texas Tech outfielder goes behind 0-1.
And don't worry, and we talked about the best names, of course, in college baseball yesterday.
1-1.
Sam Leboki might be the hardest name to pronounce when you look at the letters. H-L-I-B-O-K-I. It's not easy.
The 1-1. Harrelson on the ground towards first. Hyde scoops it, flips it to Clark, who covers the bag and records the force out of Harrelson. That one was not easy, but it looked it as Hyde and Clark hook up and record the first out of the inning.
Number 10, Chris.
Great communication between Hyde, who took it. Oyama was also over there. Hyde took the ball. Clark immediately raced over. He knew what he had to do to cover first base for a successful 3-1 putout.
Bases empty, 1 out. Orleans the 3-2 lead, bottom 5, as Clark deals a breaking ball to Chris Stanfield in for his strike 0-1, who showed bunt pulled it away to no prevail. The righty Stanfield, RBI single in the second. But he goes behind 0-2. Another off-speed pitch lands on the inner half of the plate to the Auburn Tiger. 0-2 pitch. Weakly on the ground towards Joe Oyama at second. Throws to first. Olmstead's got it. And there's 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. As continuing to get it done, Derek Clark, he's retired 4 in a row.
Now batting, the shortstop from Vanderbilt University, number 2.
He's really starting to get into his
That's
groove,
fine.
throwing strikes, getting ahead. And right there, like Stanfield, he was 0-2. He had to protect the plate. And Clark gets him on the end of the bat for a ground out. Oyama to Olmstead.
Jonathan Vastine, the lefty shortstop, 1 for 2 tonight. Comes up with the bases clear and 2 out. And gets ahead 1-0. 3-2 Orleans, bottom 5. Both teams with 5 hits and an error tonight. Here from Doran Park. The 1-0 offering. Outside, ball 2.
Olmstead and Clark with good communication, fielding, which is, of course, so hard because how many times are, him and Clark going to be on the field together?
The 2-0 lands into the glove of Henry Hunter for ball 3. Just upstairs to Vastine. Doubled in the first, flew out to center in the third. There's a strike on the 3-0. Still ahead. 3-1 is Vastine, the Florida native.
And last time up, Jake Casey robbed him of a hit.
He walks, no hit there. But reaching for the second time tonight is Vastine on 5 pitches. Keeps the 5th inning alive for Bourne with a 2-out walk.
Now batting, the catcher from Coastal
Second handed
Carolina,
out by
number
Derek
45,
Clark.
Caden Bodine.
Now bring up the hard-hitting catcher, Caden Bodine. Singled in the third and lined out to left in the first. Still wearing his Coastal Carolina Chanticleer helmet, the black with the blue brim, I guess if you want to call it that. As Clark soft tosses one over to first. And Vastine slides in, helmet first. Clark's already picked off 2 runners tonight. 1 on, 2 out, 3-2 game. Another pickoff attempt, another slide from a safe Vastine. 3-2 Orleans, bottom 5. Clark deals to Bodine. First pitch swinging, launched in the left, and it's in front of Eddie Micheletti for a base hit. Second hit tonight for Caden Bodine. The reigning ASUN freshman of the year reaches with a 2-out single. And Bourne has the go-ahead run on base, down a run in the bottom of the 5th.
Kendall Diggs.
Good swing by Bodine, a line drive into left that Micheletti, who was playing a little bit deeper than usual, had to stop up on and let it bounce in front of him. Smart play. If he came and, of course, dove, then the runner Vastine would come around and probably score. So he's betting on Clark to get Diggs.
Not an easy guy to get is Diggs out of Arkansas. The lefty comes up with 2 on and 2 out and takes the ball on a miss, low and away from Clark, 1-0.
A lot of close misses from Clark here in the 5th.
Diggs still repping the Arkansas cleats, the white and red combination matching the blue and red jerseys. Pitch in the upper third for a strike looking, 1-1 to Diggs, who is plunked in the first by Sam Leboki and struck out looking in the 3rd inning. First and second, 2 out. Vastine on second, he walked. Bodine on first, he singled. 1-1 low. 2 balls and a strike to the designated hitter. And the man batting cleanup tonight for Scott Landers, Kendall Diggs.
The matchup favors Clark. If he can fire the fastball high, then maybe drop an off speed down and away and get a rollover from Diggs.
Clark pump fakes the throw to Vastine at second, keeping it in his left hand. Held on by Andy Blake is Vastine. 2-1 to Diggs upstairs. And lunging backwards as Diggs keeps his balance at the high cheddar and gets back in the box ahead. 3-1. Clark a ball away from loading the bases with 2 out. Trying to hold on to this 3-2 Orleans lead in the bottom of the 5th. A cool night from Doran Park. The Braves, a red-hot team, trying to heat up. The 3-1. In for ball 4, just high to Kendall Diggs, and the bases are loaded after a walk, a single, and another walk from Derek Clark. in a 3-2 game that Orleans leads for now.
This has all come with 2 outs as well. The walk to Vastine, the single by Bodine, and now the walk to Diggs. Michelle up, and he was up in a big spot last time, or I should say in the first inning. His first at-bat with 2 runners on and 2 outs, he flew out to left.
Flew out to left in the first, like you said, then struck out, swinging in the third. The Virginia Tech freshman heading into his sophomore season. Lefty on lefty with the bases loaded and 2 out. Clark deals. First pitch swinging, chopped foul towards the Orleans dugout. Booted by Joey Cooper to one of the ball boys for Orleans, repping the black jerseys tonight with the white lettering. No balls in his strike to Michelle with the bases juiced and 2 out. Orleans up 3-2. 0-1 pitch, cut on, also foul to the backstop. Michelle goes behind 0-2.
Clark is firing strikes now. He's got to be careful with a big backstop here and the runner on third, Vastine, to not let one get away from him.
Bases loaded, 2 out. No balls, 2 strikes. Clark kicks and deals, low and away, doesn't get the call to the lefty Michelle. Ball 1.
Clark was running off the mound, almost fired a smirk.
He's still smirking in the direction of home plate. Doesn't get the call from Steven Williams, looking for it here. Bases loaded, 2 out, 3-2 Orleans. Bottom 5, Clark the 1-2 offering, fouled away. Towards the left side of the field, and the at-bat continues.
Seems like a big moment in this game. It's been a lot of opportunities for both teams, and if Clark can get this final out of the 5th, it'd be huge.
Michelle looking for his 6th straight game with a hit. The 1-2 offering. Upstairs for strike 3 looking. Derek Clark gets into problems with 2 outs, but eliminates the problem by stranding the bases loaded for Bourne. And Orleans still leads 3-2 after 5 from Doran Park. We'll be right back in a few on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The Firebirds are up 3-2 heading to the top of the 6th. The key right now is to slow everything down and go back to the fundamentals for the Firebirds. The first few innings have been strange with wild pitches, messy base running, and missed signs. So now it's all about dumbing the game down. The mindset needs to be focusing on 1 pitch, 1 catch, and 1 hit at a time, and to never get too far ahead of yourself. One of the biggest themes so far this season for the Firebirds is when they try to play flashy baseball, that's when they get in trouble. But when they stick to their roots and play their brand of baseball, that's when good things happen. Guys, back to you.
Sammy, it's not always about the flash as we start in the top of the 6th from Doran Park. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore, Sammy Miller on the call. And the Birds Broadcast Network, 3-2, Orleans in the lead. Do have the flashy jerseys tonight, once again wearing the red camo vest with a little gray sprinkled in there as well. Black lettering, gray trim, black undershirts, white pants. Of course, these jerseys designed a couple years ago ahead of a 2021 season by Firebirds legend and Cape Cod Baseball League Hall of Famer, current Chicago Cub Marcus Stroman, with a little patch in the upper left corner of a jersey with the logo for Stroman's apparel brand, Height Doesn't Measure Heart. Jay Casey, bottom man in the order, he leads off repping those jerseys. The lefty faces for his 2nd inning of work Matthew McShane, who delivers a first pitch strike 0-1 to start the 6th inning.
McShane was good coming in, got a line out of Penny. He came in with 2 runners on and nobody out.
Popping up Casey on the 1-0. It's fouled towards left, 1-1.
His only mistake was the double to Johnny Olmstead, which drove in Micheletti to score. A big inning for the Birds.
Trying to extend to this 3-2 lead in the top of the 6th. Casey takes strike 2. A pitch in the lower half of the zone from McShane. Strikeout for Casey in the 2nd swinging. Plunked for the 4th time this season in the 4th inning. Looking for his 3rd hit in his last 4 games, the rising junior from Kent State. Couple Pennsylvania natives going at it. The 1-2 gets the swing and miss from Casey, who goes down on 4 pitches. McShane from just outside Philadelphia strikes out Casey, the Pittsburgh native,
Now batting,
to lead off the inning, bases empty, 1 out.
So an Eagles-Steelers matchup right now, and I guess the Eagles won. They're as good as it gets right now.
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to
I didn't
victory.
know I would ever hear you say that, Ian.
I am a Giants fan.
Oh, man, that is a bad look.
I'm sorry. Bases empty, 1 out. Joe Oyama back to the top of the order for the Firebirds. He takes a ball. 1-0, another great night for the rising senior from UC Irvine. Singled each of his first 3 times up. McShane's 1-0 offering. Cut on and missed. A strong swing from Oyama. Comes up empty, 1-1.
At times, Oyama, whose game works really well against the off-speed, can get overpowered by the fastball.
Bases clear, 1 out. Matthew McShane trying to overpower the top of the order for Orleans. The bases clear and 1 out. Deals the 1-1 and another swing and miss at a fastball. Oyama falls behind 1-2. Orleans, the 3-2 advantage, took the lead last inning off an RBI double from Johnny Olmstead, who's been great over the last couple games. That scored Eddie Micheletti. McShane's 1-2 pitch. Misses high, ball 2.
Oyama's got to be ready for the fastball here. McShane's got 2 swing and misses on it. And we'll go back to it, and he's got to start early.
Oyama sits the bat over his left shoulder before bringing it up right to the left side of his face. The 2-2 pitch fouled off to the netting. A long battle with the St. Joe's product, McShane. It's just what Oyama does. Makes good contact, gets it done in unconventional ways, and gets on base. Came into tonight leading Orleans in batting average at just over 320. 2-2, shot towards first, foul, retrieved by Garrett Michelle near Orleans' dugout. Stays 2 balls, 2 strikes with the bases empty and 1 out. Orleans at 3-2 over Bourne from Doran Park in the top of the 6th.
McShane, he was a strike thrower, 17 of 23 pitches in the zone.
Somebody that pitching coach Jim Lower would like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Orleans' pitching coach. That's exactly the message he told us before the game. 2-2 pitch, fouled off towards left. You know, in an era of baseball where scouts are looking for a lot of different things, one thing that's been forgotten is, can you hit the zone as a pitcher?
Sometimes velocity is in some minds of these scouts a little bit more than maybe it should. No matter what you throw, 106, 86, strikes win.
2-2, shot right towards Michelle at first, underhand flip to McShane, who steps on the bag with his right foot and retires Oyama, who tried to beat it out with that speed but couldn't. First time tonight in 4 bats, Oyama
Now
hasn't
batting,
reached.
the shortstop
Bases
from Duke
clear,
University,
2 out,
number
and here's
35,
Andy Blake.
Andy Blake.
The opportunities that the Firebirds had, a few runners left on base. Now McShane is starting to get into a groove, and it'll be harder and harder to score as we get into the later innings.
Andy Blake's been doing a lot of scoring recently. Takes it a breaking ball that lands down the middle of the plate for a strike, 0-1. Blake quiet tonight, though. Walked in the first, struck out in the second, and was retired in the 4th as well. The 0-1 pitch from McShane, cut on, missed. Check swing that Blake couldn't keep behind home plate. 0-2 to the rising 5th-year head out of Duke. Blake, the New Jersey native, an East Coast battle against McShane. Geography in the front of my mind. 0-2, launched the opposite way towards right center, and caught in right field by Pete Chifreda. 1-2-3 goes Matthew McShane as 9-1-2. Casey Oyama and Blake go down in order for Orleans. The bullpen keeping it a 1-run game for the Bravos, who look to clap back in the bottom of the 6th on the Birds Broadcast Network. From David to Goliath, Derek Clark out, and the massive 6'5", 250-pound Grayson Carter in to the bullpen is the call for Kelly Nicholson here in the bottom of a sixth. Orleans leads 3-2. Dylan, the 5'8", 185-pound Derek Clark got it done, 3 1/3 scoreless, and now they go to the flame-throwing, big-bodied Vanderbilt right-handed pitcher.
From Vandy to Northwood University to Vandy again. Probably the first or second most trusted arm out of this bullpen is Grayson Carter, along with Sean Matson out of Harvard. Carter's thrown 3 innings so far this year. Last throwed 3 days ago against Falmouth in a 4-3 loss. 3 innings, 2 hits allowed, 1 walk. So only 3 base runners in 3 innings with 4 strikeouts. He brings the heat.
He does bring the heat. In fact, so far this season, according to TrackMan, Carter, the highest velo velocity, that is, on any pitch of any pitcher in the Cape Cod Baseball League. He's got elite stuff. He faces a pretty good player, the second baseman from Rutgers, Josh Kuroda-Grauer, who leads off and fouls a pitch back that deflects off of Henry Hunter behind the dish. 0-1. Kuroda-Grauer reached on an error in the second from Andy Blake and walked in the fourth, trying to extend his on-base streak here in his second season with the Braves. Righty on righty. Carter takes a deep exhale at the belt, kicks the 0-1 pitch. Another foul ball that deflects off of Henry Hunter and dribbles away. 0-2. Kuroda-Grauer, the 6', 195-pound rising junior from Somerset, New Jersey, decided to stay in-state and play in Piscataway with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. He's wearing the Rutgers armband on his left elbow. Red, scarlet, you get the point. 0-2, foul the other way over the Orleans dugout. And the count stays, no balls, 2 strikes.
Carter is so overpowering with his fastball. At times can drop in the slider. But why go away from something that's worked and has really excelled here on the Cape?
Kuroda-Grauer, he's made it work on the Cape over the last summer or so. The 0-2 pitch. On the outside corner, Carter misses. He was strutting off the mound, thought he would get a called strike 3 from Stephen Williams. No, not the case. Base is empty, nobody out. Kuroda-Grauer, the 6th man of the order. Still behind 1-2. 3-2 game, Orleans leads bottom 6. Carter deals another foul ball and another 1-2 pitch upcoming.
And at what point do you continue to throw the fastball and let Grauer see it versus pulling the string and going with the slider?
Not an easy guy to retire is JKG. 3rd on Bourne in batting average, headed into tonight. The 1-2 offering again, misses outside. Now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dominated in the championship run last year, did JKG for Bourne. Hit 5 for 20 in the postseason and was 2nd on Bourne in RBIs. The 2-2 fouled away. There's a reason why Scott Landers wanted him back. He's taken great at-bats, and he makes it happen for this team.
Especially with pitch number 8 of the at-bat coming up from Carter. This is a war.
Thrown right into the heart of battle is Grayson Carter. And his first batter face is not going down easy. The 2-2 pitch in the dirt. Full count. Kuroda-Grauer. A heck of an at-bat. 9 pitches in. Trying to reach for his 3rd time today as he leads off for Bourne in the bottom of a 6. In a game that Orleans leads 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Carter deals, fouled away. 10 pitches in.
Is this a war or what?
Not much more you could say. Foul ball after foul ball from Kuroda-Grauer, who spent most of last summer in the NECBL with the Newport Goals, was an all-league selection there, and finished off the summer here in Bourne, winning a ring. The 3-2. Low, spikes past Henry Hunter, ball 4. 11 pitches. And Kuroda-Grauer walks, actually clocks in at 10 pitches. Who's counting? Leadoff walk for Kuroda-Grauer, his 2nd in a row, and the tying run on base for Bourne.
What an at-bat. That's one that can really change the game for Bourne. It's a momentum shifter, and now Grayson Carter has to deal with that going to the bottom 3 of the order.
He faces the 3rd baseman, Bryce Eblin, who drove in a run with a single in the 2nd And lined out to Jake Casey, a diving play from Casey in the fourth. Pickoff attempt of Kuroda Grauer, who's taken a couple big leads tonight and was thrown out at first by Derek Clark earlier in this game for taking a little bit too large of a lead. Grayson Carter's checking in on him now. One on, nobody out. Carter checks on him again. Johnny Olmstead holds on Kuroda Grauer at first. Bourne, the navy blue jerseys tonight, red lettering, white trim, white pants. And for Evelyn, a red Alabama Crimson Tide helmet. Lefty on righty. The first pitch to him misses high, 1-0.
This was definitely going to be the toughest outing for Carter. Already up to 12 pitches or 11 pitches and no outs recorded. This Bourne team is completely different, not just name-wise, but mentality-wise from the game 3 of the season when these two teams faced off.
Only one player in the entirety of the lineup for Bourne played in the first game against Orleans, a 6-4 loss for the Braves. Evelyn showed bunt, pulled it back, took a strike. One on, nobody out. And that player, Garrett Michelle, the first baseman, still in the heart of the order for Scott Lander's team just under a month later. Looking for a different result tonight. Carter checks in on Kuroda Grauer for a third time since he reached on a leadoff walk in a 10-pitch battle with Carter. He's still safe. 3-2 Orleans in front, bottom 6. Carter's 1-0, fouled away, and once again a bat flies over the Orleans dugout and into the grass along the outside of right field. It's the second time tonight for Bourne. First it was Garrett Michelle, and now it's Bryce Evelyn. This time, the bat retrieves a little quicker than the first time around. The little kids know the drill. You don't get to keep it.
Almost struck our photographer, Margaret Dixon, but she is an athlete herself.
An ice hockey player at Riviere. They don't make them tougher than that. A lot tougher than I am. 1 on, 2 out. Back to the left-handed batter's box. Evelyn goes, waving the bat in a circular motion over his left shoulder. Carter deals and plunks Evelyn straight above his number 9 in his upper back. 2 straight base runners reach on Grayson Carter. A walk for Kuroda Grauer. It took 10 pitches to end that at bat. This at bat leads in the same result, a free bag.
Number 24, Pete.
And he's also going to be at the end of the night for Grayson Carter.
Grayson Carter, 3 scoreless outings in his first 3 appearances out of a bullpen. Does not record an out in his 4th. Kelly Nicholson, the 18th year manager, heads to the mound and takes the ball from the rising junior from Vandy. First and second, no out. Tough situation to inherit. You'll find out which pitcher is thrown into the flames of a 3-2 game at the Firebirds lead in the bottom of the 6th in just a second. Still the bottom of the 6th here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. Firebirds trying to hold on to a 3-2 lead, but runners on first and second for the Braves trying to take their first lead of the night Runner on second is Josh Kuroda-Grauer. He walked. Bryce Eblin, the man on first, he was hit by pitch. Both of those at-bats came against Grayson Carter. The new arm out of a bullpen is the lefty from Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Riley Fry, and he faces back-to-back lefties right now. It starts with the right fielder, Pete Chafreda. 1 for 2 tonight with a single in the second. Fry gives a long glance towards the catcher, Henry Hunter, and sets from the left side. Looks at Kuroda-Grauer at second, deals, showing bunt, pulling it back, taking a strike. Fastball in, and it makes it 0-1.
Fry's been doing this all season, coming into jams with lefties on and in the box or on deck or in the hole, matchups that benefit him.
Chafreda behind 0-1. Gets ahead, well, takes the ball and makes it 1-1. Little miss from Fry. Making his 7th appearance on the summer for Orleans, all of them out of a bullpen. The last coming on Wednesday in a 4-3 loss to Falmouth at home. 2 on, nobody out. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 1-2.
Really good all-speed pitch there from Fry. He's looking for a strikeout. He's looking for the pop fly in the infield, but a strikeout would go big here in the 6th.
10 strikeouts and 7 2/3 for Riley Fry this summer, who looks at Kuroda-Grauer at second and fires in the 1-2, fouled off towards the left side. We'll do it again. Chafreda trying to bring home his future Rutgers teammate. Just spent the last 4 seasons at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania. He's transferring to Rutgers in the spring. He grew up just 20 miles away from Rutgers' campus in White House Station, New Jersey. Trying to drive home another Jersey boy in JKG. The 1-2, chopped weakly towards Andy Blake. Actually, Jack Penny fields it at first, makes the throw to a diving Johnny Olmstead, who records the putout as the runners move over to second and third. 1 away.
Great play by Chafreda just to get a bat on it, number 1. He does his job, basically a bunt, right in front of home plate. Riley Fry had no chance to pick it up, so Penny, whose momentum was moving toward first, makes the throw, and Olmstead with a good job of keeping his foot on the bag.
So now runners on second and third for Bourne, 1 out. 3-2 Orleans, bottom 6. Kuroda-Grauer on third, he walked. Eblin on second, he was plunked, both by Grayson Carter. Riley Fry 1 out down, looking for the second against Gage Harrelson, the bottom man of the order, another lefty. The Texas Tech outfielder gets ahead 1-0. Low and away the miss.
Surprising that the Firebirds aren't bringing the infield all the way in here. Only the corners are in. Middle infield is back, but there's no double play set up.
Olmstead at first, Penny at third, both playing at or near the infield grass. Fry deals the 1-0 pitch. Similar miss on the outside corner, 2-0.
Usually I'd say that first base is open, so you have an opportunity, but you don't want to get back to the top of this order with the righty Stanfield and Vastine. You want to get Harrelson.
The 6'3", lanky, 175-pound Harrelson steps back in for the 2-0, and this time on the outer half, the call given to Riley Fry, the Wisconsin native, still behind 2-1. One of the better pitchers in the Horizon League over the last couple seasons. A 3-time all-conference selection. Fry deals in the 2-1, swung on, fouled away, and off the foot of Harrelson. He'll feel that one in the morning. Trying to walk it off along the first baseline. Count now even 2-2. With 2 runners in scoring position and 1 out. In a 3-2 game in favor of Orleans in the bottom of the 6th.
Fry has been great at getting back in accounts from 2-0 to now 2-2. He needs a strikeout, and he needs it bad.
Fry began this at-bat behind 2-0. Couple foul balls have evened it up 2-2. Fry winds up and deals, gets the swing and miss he desperately needed. Strike 3 swinging. Harrelson is retired.
Now batting.
What a job from Riley Fry.
Number 10.
Down 2-0 in the count, 3 straight strikes, gets the swing and miss from Harrelson, but he's not out of the traffic jam just yet. Maybe the best hitter on this Bourne team is coming up.
Has to face Chris Stanfield back to the top of the order. He's already driven in a run today. before he faces the Auburn Tiger, Henry Hunter is going to have a conversation with Fry on the mound, the catcher, his second mound visit tonight. Came in earlier in the game trying to settle down Sam Leboke, who started this game for Orleans in what was expected to be a bullpen day. Home plate umpire Stephen Williams makes his way to the mound. Doesn't get all the way there before Henry Hunter wraps up his conversation. Still runners on second and third. Josh Kuroda-Grauer walked against Grayson Carter. He's on the hot corner, and at second is Bryce Evelyn, who was plunked in the upper back by Carter before the ball was taken away from him. An intentionally walk is going to be the result of this at-bat before it even begins. Chris Stanfield is moved over to third, moved over to first, becoming the third base runner on the base paths for Bourne. Bases loaded, 2 out. And it comes down to the shortstop, Jonathan Vastine, who's reached tonight twice, including a double in the first.
This is all about righty-lefty. Didn't want to face the righty Stanfield, faces the lefty Vastine.
The ball gets in between the legs of Henry Hunter on the first pitch, but he keeps it close enough to him to keep a speedy Josh Kuroda-Grauer at third. 1-0 to the Vanderbilt star. Bases juice, 2 out, 3-2 Orleans, bottom 6. Fry gets the sign, the 1-0 on the outside corner, 1-1.
Fry's been so good against lefties. If he can get out of this jam, huge for the Birds.
The 1-1 pitch, swing on and miss. Fouled in of a glove of Henry Hunter, it's 1-2. Fry came into the game with first and second, nobody out, and is a strike away from getting out of a jam entirely with the bases loaded and 2 out. Trying to keep it 3-2 Orleans, and the 1-2 pitch does just that. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts from Riley Fry, and it stays 3-2 Orleans after 6. Top, bottom of the 7th. You see what I did there? Just, switching it up on you, Dylan. Top of the 7th from Doran Park. 3-2. Orleans in the lead. A scoreless 6th inning with a little bit of drama for both teams. And it's a 1-run lead still for Orleans.
And they need some insurance because Bourne has been threatening. They've been putting runners on in scoring position. Riley Fry was so great. Derek Clark also got out of a bases-loaded opportunity. Now Orleans has to make them pay the Braves for not cashing in on their chances, and they got the man to do it.
Eddie Micheletti, third man of the order, due up for Orleans. The lefty faces the righty. Matthew McShane still on the rubber. First pitch swing, and Micheletti launches one to left center. It drops for a base hit, and he's rounding the corner looking for 2. Micheletti standing up, a leadoff double. And the 6th hit of the night for Orleans, the first for Eddie Micheletti.
Great start for the Firebirds here. A double, their first extra base hit since Johnny Olmstead back in the 5th with his double over the head of the left fielder, Harrelson. Now how can you drive him in? Probably a bunt here from Trimble. We'll see how the Firebirds want to play it.
Trimble with a couple walks tonight. His first 2 walks on the summer.
It's baseball, baby.
Wedged in between there and strikeout. You love that saying. It's a crazy game. Infield playing in. Trimble, first pitch swinging, fouled off. 0-1. The ball clanking off what appeared to be a big rosin bag sitting along the backstop. On the far side of the field, 0-1. The righty Trimble facing the righty McShane for the second time. Micheletti off second after a first pitch leadoff double. 0-1. Micheletti popped up over the backstop this go around and behind 0-2.
Now with 0-2, Trimble has to shorten up, go to the right side. The second baseman, Kuroda Grauer, is right near second, holding on Micheletti with the righty Trimble up. He's got to get to the right side, get the runner over.
A big hole between JKG and Garrett Michelle on the right side of the infield. The 0-2 swung on, foul tip, strike 3, into the glove of Caden Bodine. And Trimble retired on 3 pitches. McShane with another strikeout.
His second of the night. It's not easy when you're facing top-flight pitching every single at-bat, but Jack Penny's done it, and he's been so clutch for this team all season long.
The lefty Penny, the righty McShane, 1 on, 1 out. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, gets the whiff, landed in the dirt. Still got a swing from Penny, who falls behind 0-1.
It feels like missed opportunities every single half inning for either team. Runners on, chances, outs. Which team will break through?
Both teams with 6 hits tonight, but Orleans leads 3-2 in the top of the 7th. 0-1 to Penny, chopped foul, and lands right near Johnny Olmstead in the on-deck circle. 0-2. Penny without a hit tonight, walked in the 3rd, lined out to short, his last time up in the 6th. 5th, rather. No balls, 2 strikes. Micheletti still off second. McShane gives him a couple glances and deals the 0-2 fastball in for strike 3 looking. Trimble goes down swinging. Penny goes down with a backwards K. Both of them retired on 3 pitches each, 2 away.
Now batting, the first baseman from the University of
Those are
Southern
2 at-bats that
California,
I know McShane has been so good, but you truly cannot have both very low pitch count in terms of at-bats, 3-4 pitches, and especially with a backwards K. A ball needs to get put in play here, and now it's down to Johnny Olmstead with 2 outs.
Olmstead, an RBI double during his last plate appearance in the 5th. 1 on, 2 out. The righty takes a ball. The pitch bounced at home plate, blocked up by Bodine, keeping Eddie Micheletti, who led off his inning with a double at second. Home plate umpire Stephen Williams having a bit of a chat with McShane as he makes his way back to the mound. 1-0.
Olmstead, who's really gotten hot as of late. 3 hits last night, or check that 4 hits last night, and then a double with an RBI to give the Firebirds the lead. Can he continue?
The USC Trojan wearing the maroon and gold arm sleeve on his right hand, his right arm rather, and the batting glove, gold and red on his left hand, the right one, bare. The 1-0 pitch. This is low and in to the rising 5th year, 2-0. Righty on righty. Micheletti still parked at second. Orleans trying to add on to a 3-2 lead in the top of the 7th. McShane, the 2-0 offering. Low for ball 3.
I wouldn't want to pitch to Johnny Olmstead right now either.
Olmstead put together a great senior season with the Trojans, and he's starting to show the kind of skills he can bring to a big team moving forward. And on the 3-0, he takes for ball 4. After 2 strikeouts, that took just 6 pitches for Matthew McShane, retiring Trimble and Penny. 4 pitches and a walk to Johnny Olmstead, now first and second with 2 out.
Good at bat from Olmstead. Didn't try to do too much. Like Kelly Nicholson always says, pass the baton, and it's Jake Hyde's time. A 2 RBI double last night to give the Firebirds an early lead.
It appears that Matthew McShane, his night might be over. Manager Scott Landers, in his second year with the team, trots towards the mound with runners on first and second and 2 out. They have a conversation with McShane. 3-2 game, Orleans ahead, top 7. There hasn't been a call to the bullpen.
It's pitching coach, I believe, or else Landers, who believes in McShane, just wants to give him a little talking over.
Stephen Williams, the home plate umpire, joins in on the conversation as well, which includes the entirety of the infield and catcher Caden Bodine. You're exactly right. Matthew McShane to stay in and face the designated hitter, batting 7th tonight for Orleans, Jay Kai, the lefty, wearing the Georgetown navy blue right elbow pad, the Nike swoosh on the back, a navy blue right shin guard as well. First pitch, a ball, 0 in. 1-0. Micheletti on second. He doubled. Olmsted on first. He walked. 3-2 Orleans, top 7.
Olmsted with a tough night so far, 0 for 3, but can wash that all away with this at-bat.
Again on the inside corner, but this time a strike to Hyde. Count even by McShane, 1-1. Hyde grounded into a double play in the first, flew out in the fourth, struck out in the fifth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch on the way, swung on, fouled off. 1-2.
I think back to what Eddie King Jr. told us a few days ago, and that was to stay on the fastball is what their mentality is, and then adjust for the curveball. Right now it feels like Hyde is almost looking for the all-speed and is late on the fastball.
Couple former NECBL guys going at it. Hunting for that fastball behind an account 1-2. McShane, formerly of the Upper Valley Nighthawks. Hyde, formerly of the Danbury Westerners. The 1-2 pitch, fouled away, off the left. Meeting again, another summer, proving they're 2 of the best in the country at what they do. Orleans trying to add on to this lead. Could look a little bit better in a tight game. 3-2 Birds. Top 7, first and second, 2 out. McShane set. Gives a glance to Micheletti. Deals the 1-2. Fair ball towards second. JKG tosses to first and gets the out as Orleans leaves 2 stranded in the top of the 7th. Matthew McShane had a couple strikeouts, had a couple guys reach, but in the end gets out scot-free, and it stays 3-2 Birds as we stretch in the middle of the 7th inning from Doran Park. We'll be right back. Are you having a good time? We certainly are. Albeit I would tell you the score, but the scoreboard just shut off from Doran Park in right center field. I've been keeping track. Don't worry. It's 3-2. Orleans in the lead over Bourne in search of its second win over the defending champs on the season. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, scoreboard has reset rather quickly. Riley Fry still on the mound. The lefty misses Hyde of a switch-hitting catcher from Coastal Carolina, Caden Bodine. 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Bravos. First pitch strike. Evens the count 1-1 to Bodine. Fry working quickly. cracked, and it ricochets off the mound, and it gets by a leaping Oyama at second. Caden Bodine with his third hit in a row, and easily his craziest. A ground ball that bounced right off the mound, straight up into the air, and leaked into center field, right in front of Eddie King, the new center fielder in the game, replacing Jay Casey.
Riley Fry do a lot of heavy lifting getting out of the 6th inning. He's gone 2 innings this year, but with a full bullpen, Fry for another inning is an interesting decision. This is why he's in to face the lefty Diggs with some arms moving in the bullpen.
1 on, nobody out. Fry deals, and there's a strike to Diggs, who walked his last time up in the 5th, 0-1. You mentioned the Oshkosh, Wisconsin natives given Orleans some length this season. In each of his first 2 appearances, he went exactly 2 innings, but has not gone more than 1 inning pitch in his last 3 appearances out of a bullpen. Misses high, 1-1 to the Arkansas designated hitter. 3-2 Orleans, still in front, bottom 7. The tying run at first base after a leadoff single from Bodine, who's got 3 hits tonight. The 1-1 misses outside for ball 2.
With Eddie King Jr. now in center field, some improved speed and defense into the outfield for the Firebirds, just in case anything gets fired into each gap.
The Louisville man also replaces Jake Casey in the bottom of the order. 2 balls and a strike. Up and in, ducking out of a way was Diggs, who takes ball 3.
This is trouble. 1 pitch away from where the Firebirds were last inning, 1st and 2nd, with nobody out.
The Arkansas Razorback knows how to reach. 46 walks, only 47 strikeouts as a sophomore. The 3-1 chopped into the glove of Fry, who spins around, throws the first, gets the out. Hooking up with Johnny Olmstead, 1 away. Moving in a scoring position is Bodine. He trots to 2nd.
Good play by Fry. Good pitch on the 3-1.
Now
Gets
batting
soft contact
from Virginia Tech, number 19, Garrett Michelle.
and makes the play to first. It's consistent runners in scoring position every half inning for either team. The stress has been unbearable.
1 on, 1 out. 3-2 game. Orleans in front, bottom 7. Garrett Michelle, another lefty at the plate. Gets ahead 1-0. Talk about stress. Came up to the plate last night for Bourne with the bases loaded. An opportunity to walk it off, and he walked to win the game. For a Bourne team that's won 7 of its last 9 games. The 1-0 pitch, also outside. Michelle, who's 0 for 3 today with a couple strikeouts, now ahead, a couple balls, no strikes.
Would you call that a walk-off or a walk-off?
A walking walk-off. Runner on 2nd, 1 out. Caden Bodine, single to start this inning. Swing and a miss from Michelle. Still ahead 2-1. Bodine moved to 2nd on a ground out from Kendall Diggs. 7 hits tonight for the Braves. 2 runs to show for it. Fry deals, pop up along the left side of the field. Ranging towards his right now in foul territory. Eddie Micheletti makes the catch over his head for route number 2 in a row. Diggs goes down on the ground out. Michelle on the foul out. He's 0 for 4.
Now batting, the second baseman
Big out
from
by
Woodbridge
Fry,
University,
and now
number
it's
13, Joshua Kuroda Grauer.
Of course, Kuroda Grauer. Do you keep Fry in here to face the righty, or do you bring in a righty from the bullpen? We'll have to see. Oh, won't even have a decision.
Kuroda Grauer is going to get intentionally walked. Trying to play the matchup game again, Dylan, is Bryce Evelyn, who's now going to head to the plate, a lefty to face the lefty Fry, but the bases now a little bit clogged, 1st and 2nd.
Now
Yeah, I'm
batting,
not
the
sure
third baseman
if
from the University
I
of
agree
Alabama,
with this one.
number
Of course, the
9,
Firebirds
Wes
got out of
Miller.
it with an intentional walk a few innings ago. But now with the go-ahead run at first base, Evelyn puts one in the gap, and the Braves are winning. There are a few right-handed guys out of the bullpen, a Danny Carrion, a Sean Matson. Maybe the Firebirds are trying to save for later innings.
It's the 2nd inning in a row. Callie Nicholson has decided to intentionally walk a Bravo. Trying to keep it a 3-2 game in Orleans' favor in the bottom of the 2nd. Fry deals his first pitch to the lefty, Evelyn high, 1-0. Intentionally walked the top man of the order for Bourne, Chris Stanfield, last inning. To load the bases with 2 out, Fry responded with striking out Jonathan Vastine. Now it's 1st and 2nd with 2 out. Same score, 3-2 Orleans. The lefty Fry deals to 1-0 and misses outside. 2-0.
Playing a game that's hard to continue to win, but Fry's going to have to put on his big boy pants to get this out.
Fry in a big spot, one of his biggest of his season. 3-2 Orleans, bottom 7, 2 outs. Here's the 2-0. Cut on and missed. 2-1, Eblin still ahead. Drove in a run in the first off a single. Wind out to short in the third, and was hit by pitches last time up, which ended Grayson Carter's night before he recorded it out and was replaced by Riley Fry. 2 on, 2 out. 2 balls, 1 strike. Fry deals and misses low for ball 3.
Another lefty on deck. And Pete Trifrida, just in case this becomes a walk. But Fry's been good on 3-1 counts. He got Kendall Diggs to ground out right back to him on the 3-1 earlier in the inning.
Eblin circles the bat over his left shoulder. And a hitter's count 3-1. And he blisters a ball to left center field. Eddie King ranging towards his right, backhands the catch ahead of a wall and ends the inning. Peanut butter and jelly? Maybe peanut butter and jam. They got a burger sandwiched in between one of them here from Bourne. Maybe Riley Fry had one before the game because he's working out of his stuff like it's as easy to make as P, B, and J. It stays 3-2. Orleans in front. We're done with 7 innings from Doran Park. Top of the 8th from Doran Park here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a great game. Orleans in front 3-2, facing a new pitcher. But before we tell you who's on the mound for the Bravos, Dylan, the final line on Matthew McShane.
He was really good. He allowed a few base runners, 3 to be exact, 2 hits, 1 walk, 4 Ks, 3 innings for McShane, who comes in and dominates the Firebirds in middle relief once again. Right now, it's just about converting on opportunities that neither team has. It's been a struggle with runners in scoring position for both squads.
3 runs tonight for Orleans off 6 hits and an error. Scored 2 of those runs in the first inning off Marcus Morgan, the starter tonight for Bourne. For the Braves, 2 runs off 7 hits and error as well. Both runs tagged on Sam Leboki in the second inning. New pitcher in the game for the Braves, their 3rd different arm of the night, is Brady Afton, the rising junior from UConn, making his 2nd appearance on the summer for the Braves. His first came in an 8-2 win against Chatham on the 28th. Pitched a scoreless inning in which he allowed 2 walks and a hit, but got out of there scot-free. He faces 8-9-1 of the order for Orleans, starting with the left-handed catcher from Alabama, Birmingham, Henry Hunter. 3-2 Orleans, the light shining bright from Doran Park on a Saturday night. Top 8, ball 1, Henry Hunter, a high miss from the new arm.
Firebirds need to push across an insurance run here. Bourne has been threatening every single inning. So close to converting, but Eddie King Jr. with incredible defense last inning.
Swing and a miss from Hunter. A ball and a strike. After the great catch from Eddie King Jr., the fly out to end the inning off the bat of Bryce Eblin. He stands in the on-deck circle as he's replaced Jake Casey in the lineup. 1 ball, 1 strike. Afton deals. Fastball fouled off to the left side. 1-2. Hunter walked in the second, but since struck out looking in the fourth and flew out to right an inning later. Wearing the green Alabama Birmingham elbow pad like he has all season long with the white batting gloves. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Going with the off-speed look. And Hunter strikes out for the second time tonight. 1 away in the top of the 8th.
Afton last time, like you said, against Chatham came in, but the game was 8-2 in the bottom of the 8th before Bourne came up and made 3 outs and couldn't win that one. Or did win that one, I should say. Came in up 6 runs. This is a little bit more difficult. Down 1 and having to keep it where it is.
Bases clear, 1 out. 3-2 Orleans top 8, and Eddie King Jr., the new center fielder, swings and misses a pitch low in the zone, 0-1. Something else difficult to do, coming off the bench and being expected to put up good at-bats after being cold all night. King waves the bat over his right shoulder. The 0-1 offering, low and away for ball 1.
Came in against YD last night as a replacement. Had 2 at-bats, a hit by pitch, a strikeout, stole a bag, and scored a run.
Does a little bit of everything for this team when they need him to with that killer speed. The 6-foot, 180-pound Afton deals. Cracked off the top of the backstop. Foul ball. 1-2. Joe Oyama, the man on deck, retrieves it, hands it. The Orleans ball boy. Bases clear, 1 out. 3-2 Orleans, top 8. Afton, the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses in front of the plate, blocked up by Bodine. 2-2.
King had a little bit of a stretch there where he was hitting the ball hard and continued to get on base, which is where he can really show off his best assets.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Afton kicks and deals. Another breaking ball and a low miss to King, who's worked the count full. Coming off a solid sophomore season at Connecticut. Afton, a 3.91 ERA in 26 appearances, all of them out of a bullpen. 25 in the 3rd innings pitched. The payoff pitch is fouled back. And King lives to see another day. Base is still clear, 1 out. Eddie King, the rising junior from Louisville. Originally by way of Chicago. Facing off against the Maine native, the former Maine Gatorade Player of the Year in the 3rd different arm of the game for Bourne and Brady Afton. The righty fires in the payoff. Misses outside, gets by the glove of Bodine, but it doesn't matter. It's a 1-out walk for Eddie King. And a great at-bat for somebody who has great speed and has done a lot of good things for Orleans this season, but needs a few more good at-bats like that on the regular.
Yeah, he was down in the count, worked his way back, and now can use his speed. This is where the Firebirds are set up and need to push across a run. King with speed on first and back to the top of the order.
Speaking of speed, there's Joe Oyama, the lefty to face the righty Afton. Oyama 3 straight hits to start this game, but grounded out the first his last time up in the 6th. Afton instantly checks in on King, who slides in head first and is safe at first.
3 stolen bags for King on the year. He's trying to make it 4.
Orleans has run the base paths well tonight in a game that favors the Birds 3-2 in the top of the 8th. A scoreless past couple of innings. The 1-0 laid off by Oyama smartly. He gets ahead. Oyama gets the signs from hitting coach Max Fesky at 3rd. Swings around the bat and rests it over his left shoulder. Ahead 1-0. Afton waves through a couple signs and then throws back to first, trying to pick off King. He can't.
Oyama wants to have a longer at-bat here. More pitches that King gets to see Afton, see how he releases the ball, when he can time him up, and find a way to take second.
1 on, 1 out. One more checking on King. No slide this time. The camo vest jersey already dirty enough for King. He's got speed to get back to the bag. Held on by Garrett Michelle. 3-2 Orleans, top 8. 1 on, 1 out. 1 ball, no strikes. King takes off. Bodine to throw. High to second. Leaping to secure it is the shortstop, Vastine. He had no chance to make the tag, but thank goodness he got up there, or else King would have probably taken off for third. 2 balls, no strikes now to Oyama, who now has a runner in scoring position, and Bodine now makes his way out to the mound to talk with his new pitcher.
Well, now with 1 out, runner on second and up 2-0 in the count, not only are you looking to pull the ball if you're Oyama, but any hit to the outfield, and King's going to be headed home, at least attempting to score. Every run's so vital, and it won't get easier for Oyama, but he is up 2-0 in the count, which gives him the advantage.
Oyama with 3 runs driven in through 14 games as a Firebird, without an RBI since June 22nd against Brewster, when he drove in all 3 of his runs on the season. Oyama calls for time as the home plate umpire, Stephen Williams, brings out the brush and perfectly dusts off home plate.
Probably have more, but Oyama's in the leadoff spot. Not always guys on for him when he comes up, but now here's an opportunity.
Does his job to a T. Gets on base, does it well. 954 OPS headed into tonight. King off second, 1 out. 2-0 pitch, fouled off, high in the sky on a dark night from Bourne, 2-1. The lights on from Doran Park. First trip here for Orleans on the season. It won't be the last. These two will meet up twice more this month. Once more from Eldridge and another time from Doran. Braves trying to improve to 2 games above 500. Orleans trying to get back to 500. King off second. 1 out. 2-1 pinch from Afton. Sky to straightaway center field. Coming up, Chris makes the catch.
Oyama didn't get his best wood on it. Just got caught up a little bit inside the bat.
Now batting.
Didn't get his barrel on it, and now it's up to Andy Blake. Continuous. Every half inning, there's runners in scoring position opportunities for either team.
That's the second out of the inning, like you mentioned. Orleans got the leadoff runner aboard, and Eddie King. Actually, Henry Hunter led off the inning and struck out swinging. King reached on the walk, moved to second on a stolen base. Andy Blake, 1 on, 2 out in a 3-2 game in favor of the Birds, takes a first pitch strike.
Blake was in this situation last night, and with 2 strikes, he lined it to right for a single to drive home the runner. To give the Firebirds their first run against YD, they eventually scored 10.
Blake trying to extend his 5-game hitting streak, but he goes behind 0-2 in the count, looking at a pair of strikes thrown by Brian Afton. King retakes his lead off second. 3-2 Orleans, top 8. Birds looking for hit number 7 on the night in the first for Andy Blake, who flew out to right his last time up. No balls, 2 strikes. King stays at second, and Blake takes ball 1.
King's got to get a good lead here. Any ball that dribbles its way to the outfield, he's got to be coming home.
Blake waves the bat in front of him and brings it high above his right shoulder. The reigning Ivy League Player of the Year has been on a tear. And on the 1-2, tears it to left field. It's down for a base hit. King's got the speed. He's got the sign. He's on the way home. He slides in head first. The throw off to the right. He's in. RBI single for Andy Blake, and the Birds up the lead 4-2 in the top of the 8th.
Another day, another clutch hit from Andy Blake. RBI single, and no chance for the left fielder Harrelson to throw out the speedy Eddie King Jr. Once again, 2 out, runners in scoring position hitting. It goes the Firebirds' way. They get the hit, and now the big insurance run.
7th run batted in on the year for the future Duke Blue Devil, Andy Blake, who's on first and now dives towards the bag head first as Afton checks in on him. Eddie Micheletti at the plate, the lefty, doubled his last time up and has reached base 3 times tonight. What's new? Takes for ball 1, a miss outside, lefty on righty. 4-2 Orleans. 2 runs in the first, 1 more in the 5th, and now the 4th in the 8th. Off a new reliever out of UConn, Brian Afton. An RBI single to left from Andy Blake scored Eddie King Jr. 1-0 pitch, chopped weakly into a glove of Afton on a hop, tosses it with his right over to first, and Michelle is there for the putout. But the damage done, the insurance added. Andy Blake continues to rake an RBI single, which scores Eddie King and makes it 4-2 Orleans as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Riley Fry getting a ton of critical outs and working out of a few jams. He's no longer on the mound, though, for Orleans in the bottom of the 8th. Birds lead 4-2, adding some insurance in the top of the frame off an Andy Blake RBI single, which scored Eddie King. But now, Kelly Nicholson, as always, Dylan, playing the matchup game with 8-9-1 due up for Bourne, and he sends in who?
He sends in Connor Eaton, the lefty, out of George Mason. He's really started to become one of the more trusted relievers in this bullpen. Last 3 outings, 4 1/3 innings, 1 hit allowed, 6 strikeouts. At times can get a little bit wild, but with 3 of the next 4 hitters for Bourne coming up as lefties, this move makes a ton of sense.
Eaton, the rising junior from George Mason, a team that made the NCAA tournament, faces off with the left-handed Pete Chifreda, the left-handed right fielder. First pitch swinging, a check swing that went like 80% of the way, and he goes behind 0-1.
Eaton is so nasty. A fastball that's so good across his body, and then a slider that just disappears.
That fastball misses high, evens the count, a ball and a strike to Chifreda, who singled his first time up in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 4th, and grounded out to 3rd in the 6th. The 1-1. Cut on, weakly bounced towards 3rd, and Penny cannot glove it just near the infield grass. Slipped right out of his left-handed glove, and reaching first safely is Pete Chifreda. That's the 2nd error of the game for Orleans. And now the tying run comes to the plate in Gage Harrelson.
A frustrating play for all parties involved with the Firebirds as Penny came in. It would have been a tough play either way with the speed of Chifreda. But Penny didn't get his glove down. The ball went under it. It stayed on the grass. And now a runner on and another error for the Firebirds.
Chifreda on for his 2nd time tonight. And another lefty to face the lefty Eaton and Gage Harrelson. Miss upstairs, 1-0. Harrelson 0 for 3 tonight. Lined out in the 2nd. Grounded out in the 5th. Struck out in the 6th. Did the Texas Tech Red Raider. He holds the bat high over his left shoulder. And on the 1-0, swings and fouls it off the left side of the netting for strike 1.
for a pitcher like Eaton. I always think about this when you come into the game and you're guarding a 2-run lead. Big outing for him. First pitch, or first at bat, I should say, you get weak contact, but the defense doesn't help you out. How do you kind of rebound? How do you continue to stay locked in?
The freshman All-American trying to stay locked in against Eaton. And he gets ahead 2-1 in a count. As a Virginia native misses outside. Runner on first, Chifreda, who just reached on an E5 from Jack Penny at third. The tying run at the plate in a 4-2 game. Birds ahead in the bottom of the 8th. Eaton, a soft pickoff attempt. Olmsted returns the favor and sends it back to the mound.
For Eaton, it's just get back to what you're doing. Get ground balls. He's so good at getting hitters to get on top of it. Maybe a potential double play.
The 2-1 pitch is foul. Chopped down the left field line. Backhanded by Penny. 2-2. We'll do it again.
Eaton's fastball so dominant. If he can drop the slider on the outside corner to the lefty in Harrelson, he can have success.
Harrelson had a lot of success in his first year at the collegiate level. An honorable mention, Big 12 selection as a first year. The 2-2 takes for ball 3, and Hunter lost the ball behind the dish, which allowed Chifreda to move in a scoring position at second.
Not a big deal if you're a Firebird, as you're thinking about the runner at the plate. You're thinking about the tying run. Eaton has to lock in on the hitter now and not let the runner Chifreda bother him.
Full count now to Harrelson with first base empty. 1 on, nobody out. Here's the pitch, fouled off, and it clanks just above the netting near the dugout for Bourne on the left side of the field and falls into the dugout.
Harrelson is a really crafty hitter. He's a left-handed hitter who can really slap the ball the other way. If you're Eaton and he works on a lot of lefties pulling the ball, you're hoping for a line drive at Penny or Blake or a ground ball to either of them.
Harrelson 7 for 27 going into tonight with 3 runs driven in. He sends one right to the middle of the infield. Oyama has it on the far side of second base, throws to first, and it's not in time. Oyama did everything he could, but it's an infield single for Gage Harrelson, who reaches first. And moving over to third is Pete Chifreda. Back to the top of the order with Chris Stanfield. Runners on the corners, nobody out. Connor Eaton has to work himself out of a jam in a 4-2 game at the Birds' lead in the bottom of the 8th.
What an unlucky inning for the Firebirds so far. A ground ball that's misplayed by Penny in the infield. That didn't even reach the infield dirt. And then an infield single that was just in no man's land right up the middle.
Showing bunt, popping it foul towards the right side. Henry Hunter ran for it. No way he was going to get there, though. 0-1. To the Auburn Tiger. Stanfield grounded out in the first, drove in a run with a single in the second, grounded out in the 5th, and was intentionally walked against Riley Fry in the 6th. Chifreda off third, Harrelson off first. The go-ahead run at the plate in a 4-2 game. The 0-1 pitch is cranked past Oyama in the right field, down for a hit. Chifreda scores, racing towards third is Harrelson. He's there standing, and it's another RBI for Chris Stanfield. Orleans still in front, but trouble brewing. 4-3, Birds up over the Braves, still with runners on the corners and nobody out in the bottom of the 8th.
Aren't you glad you got the insurance run now from Andy Blake, but it doesn't look too hot. 2 lucky hits for Bourne, and then one that was just cracked to center. Back to the top of Stanfield, and now the second batter, Vastine.
Vastine, the lefty. Pickoff attempt in the direction of Stanfield. He's safe with a head first slide. Olmsted holds him on. Now the tying run at third. Gage Harrelson, who singled. And the go-ahead run, Stanfield on first, who's once again going to draw a pickoff attempt from Eaton. Vastine, 1 for 4 on the day, doubled in the first, and has since flown out and struck out. Also walked in the 5th. Eaton deals. Bunt laid down right in front of Eaton, who flips to third, now to first, and gets the out. Really well played by Connor Eaton. That's the first out of the inning. Moving up to second is Chris Stanfield, but staying at third, Dylan, is Gage
batting,
Harrelson.
the catcher from
What a
Coastal
play by
Carolina,
Connor
number
Eaton. Right
45,
back to him.
Caden
If
Bodine.
Fastime put it anywhere else, the runner comes around and scores. It's a safety squeeze, so he's waiting for the bunt to get down. But it went right back to the pitcher. He looked at third, looked at the runner Harrelson, and then fired to first for the out. So smart play by Eaton, but a long way to go.
And now he has to face Caden Bodine from Coastal Carolina. 3 straight hits for the catcher. Righty on lefty. Eaton deals and lands one low and in for a strike. 0-1. Second and third. 1 out. Harrelson on third. And now on second, Stanfield. Both singled. 4-3. Orleans still in front. The bottom of the 8th. Pitch gets a swing and miss, but gets by Henry Hunter. Racing home is Harrelson, and this game is tied. The ball gets away from Hunter. Now thrown back to third, but safe at third is Stanfield. 4-4. A pass ball on Henry Hunter. Scores the run from third to tie the game. Gage Harrelson comes home. Now 0-2 on Caden Bodine. 2 runs in the second, now 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Bourne has tied the game. The 0-2 offering, Bodine cracks one fair. Blake lets the ball get by him. It's short, it trickles into the outfield, and now Chris Stanfield comes home. And Bourne has taken the lead 5-4 with a 3 spot here in the bottom of the 8th. Defensive woes continuing to hurt the Firebirds.
Now batting,
Back to
the
back,
designated hitter from
cost the
University of
lead
Arkansas,
in the bottom of
number
the
8,
8th inning.
Kendall Diggs.
An inning that started off with an E5 to a single to another single. That won't be ruled a hit against Andy Blake. But defensive woes continue for the Birds.
Now the runner on first is Bodine in a 5-4 game, a game that's been flipped on its head. And that was a first pitch strike to Kendall Diggs, batting 4th in the order. 5 runs tonight off 10 hits and an error for Bourne, who's pulled ahead in a pretty wild way in the bottom of the 8th. Eaton misses outside of a lefty Diggs, and a southpaw duel, now a ball and a strike to the Arkansas Razorback.
How a game can change so quickly.
It was 4-2 Orleans headed into this inning. 3 runs scored by the Braves. The 1-1 buckles the knees of Diggs, but he laid off it for ball 2 to get ahead.
And, you know, who takes the blame? Connor Eaton's been good. I mean, he started off the inning with 2 weak contact singles, and then you go to the top of the order. Eventually, the Braves were going to break through.
2-1 in the dirt. Keeping in front of him is Hunter. 3 balls and a strike. Tough to play the blame game, but right now just trying to play the damage prevent game. With still 1 on and 1 out. Bodine off first. After he reached on a single that drifted by the glove of Andy Blake at short. 3 balls and a strike. Foul tip gets by the glove of Hunter. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Bodine still at first. Full count. 5-4. Bourne with 3 runs here in the bottom of the 8th to take the lead in search of win number 10 on its season. Diggs readjusts the white batting gloves and is back in a left-handed batter's box, crouched down, ready for the full count pitch. Here it comes. Swung on and fouled. Actually fair down the right field line. It stayed fair. Didn't look like it originally, but Johnny Olmstead scooped it and then just tagged Diggs halfway to first base to record his second out of the inning. Sliding over to second, and the process is Caden Bodine, 2-away.
Now batting, the first baseman from
Gets an
Virginia
important
Tech,
out,
number
like you
19,
said, Ian. You're
Garrett
preventing damage
Michelle.
here, and just looking to keep the score at what it is. With another lefty coming up and Eaton staying in.
It's Garrett Michelle, who's 0 for 4 today with a couple strikeouts. 5-4 Bourne, 3 runs scored in the bottom of the 8th. Eaton deals Michelle a big swing and miss. 0-1 to the Virginia Tech Hokie. Couple of Virginia guys going at it, at least collegiately. Michelle from North Carolina. Eaton, Virginia through and through. No balls in a strike. Breaking ball misses up and in, 1-1. Runner on second is Bodine, who reached on a single. And in the process, also a run scored for Chris Stanfield. Eaton's 1-1. Misses outside, ball 2. Orleans adding that insurance run at the top of the inning to make it 4-2 Birds. Andy Blake driving in Eddie King Jr. But just like that, in a snap of an eye, Bourne with 3 runs in return. 2-1 gets another whiff from Michelle. It's 2-2. With 1 on and 2 out. Bodine still at second. Eaton gives Bodine a look. The 2-2 offering is on the ground. Shot towards Oyama. It gets away from his glove and towards Eddie King in center. Getting the call home is Bodine. He scores, and it's 6-4 Bourne. A hard hit ball is going to go down as another hit and an RBI single off the bat of Garrett Michelle to make it a 2-run lead.
There was a lot of opportunities for Bourne to score in prior innings. They did not. Riley Fry, Derek Clark with great work. This inning, defensively, it's fallen apart for Orleans.
4 runs for the Braves in the bottom of the 8th, who have now pulled ahead by 2. 6-4. Garrett Michelle on first. Here's Josh Kuroda Growler, who takes the ball, the righty, ahead 1-0.
8th batter to come up to the plate for the Braves in this inning.
Eaton had only given up a run in one of his 4 prior appearances. This one chopped to third, right in front of Jack Penny. Launches it over to first, gets feet out. But a tough inning finally ends for Orleans. 1 base runner stranded, but Bourne probably not going to cry over spilled milk, putting up 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th as the Bravos take the lead over the Birds, 6-4. Orleans now has to come back at the top of the 9th, and you're going to have to stay here on the Birds Broadcast Network to find out if they can in just a second. If you tuned out and are tuning back in, it's completely a different game than it was in the top of the 8th. 4 runs scored by the Bourne Braves in the bottom of the 8th inning. For the first time tonight, Bourne has the lead and is 3 outs away from victory. Scott Landers keeps Brady Afton in, looking for 3 more outs from the rising junior from UConn. He faces the heart of the order for Orleans. It starts with a right fielder from James Madison, Fenwick Trimble, 4, 5, and 6. Due up for Kelly Nicholson's crew.
University, number 13, Fenwick Trimble.
And if you're the Firebirds hitters, you're just looking for yet one guy on. They say down 2, bloop and a blast. Who's going to get the bloop? And got some power coming up in the order for the blast.
On deck, Jack Penny, who's been red hot for Orleans as of late. Afton's first pitch to the righty Trimble. Misses outside, 1-0. Trimble's walked twice tonight, something he had not done yet at all this summer for Orleans, but has also got a couple strikeouts. So officially 0 for 2. 7 hits tonight for the Birds as Afton deals, and the first pitch is launched to left, and it gets in front of a glove of Gage Harrelson. It gets by him to the wall, and Trimble gets the second standing up. Exactly what Orleans needed to wipe away an ugly bottom of the 8th. Still down 6-4, but with a leadoff double from Trimble at the top of the 9th. A call to the bullpen from Scott Landers. Brady Afton was kept in, but not for very long in the 9th inning. Husky has the ball taken away from him. Who does Landers go to with a tying run now at the plate for the Birds? We'll be back in just a second to tell you who has the opportunity to close this thing out for Bourne on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the 9th. Back from Doran Park. Jack Penny comes to the plate, and the third baseman faces a new pitcher. From one Husky to another, Brady Afton pulled, and in comes another Husky, Jack Sullivan. The righty, 6'4", 180 pounds, from Carmel, New York, about 2 hours west of Yukon, faces the Notre Dame Fighting Irish star Jack Penny. Runner on second, Fenwick Trimble, as Penny fouls back the first pitch 0-1. Trimble reached on a double to left, which knocked Afton out of the game. 8th hit of the night for Orleans, who trails 6-4 in the top of the 9th.
He's going to be thinking about going deep to tie this game, but he's got to stay within himself. Make good contact no matter where it goes.
The 0-1 from Sullivan. Breaking ball, which is crushed over to second, fielded cleanly by JKG, gets the out. But moving over to third after the first out of the inning is Fenwick Trimble. So the tying run comes up to the plate once again, this time represented by Johnny Olmstead after the ground out to second by Jack Penny.
Good work by Penny to move the runner over, and now it's up to a man who can drive the ball out of the ballpark. He almost did earlier in the game in a 5th inning RBI double.
Number 8, Johnny Olmstead.
Sullivan knows how to deal with these high-pressure situations on the Cape. It's his second year here in the CCBL, second in the West Division, but first with Bourne. Spent last summer with the Wareham Gatemen. Made 9 appearances out of a bullpen out of sub-3 ERA. 1 on, 1 out. He deals a breaking ball and gets a whiff out of Olmstead, who goes behind 0-1. Righty on righty. Trimble on third, 1 man out. 6-4 game. Orleans, after 4 runs from the Braves in the bottom of the 8th, trails. The 0-1. Olmstead pops it up, middle of the infield, charging towards his right, waving everybody off. JKG has it.
Right
2 away.
Right on the hands was Olmstead. Sullivan, who looks cool as a cucumber, coming in with a big spot.
Now batting, the designated hitter from Georgetown.
Closed out a
University,
game
number
with
30,
Wareham last
Hyde.
summer. Is a starter for Connecticut in the Big East. 10 starts and 14 appearances. He's an out away. Tying run back at the plate. It's for lefty Jake Hyde, a Big East rival. Here's the pitch. Hard hit ball, and it gets by the glove of the first baseman, Michelle. Jake Hyde delivers, and Fenwick Trimble scores. Orleans still down a run in the top of the ninth. It's 6-5. An RBI single with 2 outs for Jake Hyde.
Great job by Hyde. Got good wood on it. Got it past the first baseman, Michelle,
Now batting
into right.
from Georgetown University.
And if
number
one
41,
Hoya wasn't enough, here's
Couple
another. The Big East bashing hopes to continue for Orleans. It's Owen Carpellotti, another lefty bat, and a collegiate teammate of Jake Hyde, who's on first. And Hyde's going to be pinch ran for as Kelly Nicholson goes down the bench and looks for somebody with a bit more speed than Hyde, who hands the helmet off to Drew Farreau, the rising sophomore, transferring to Florida State after a freshman season with the University of Central Florida. So the tying run on first. Orleans down 6-5. Top 9 after the RBI single from Jake Hyde. Back-to-back nights with a run driven in for the Connecticut native. Sullivan, righty on lefty against Carpellotti. First pitch swinging. High fly ball. Left field. He doesn't need to move a lot to get it. Gage Harrelson has it. And the game is over. It was a heck of a game. And a game that Orleans controlled. But 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th does the Birds in. The Braves continue to roll a 6-5 victory here from Doran Park.
The Braves come through in the 8th. What can you say?
Yeah, that's the
There
ball
was
game,
many
folks.
opportunities from them
We
to
ask
score
all
in the
fans, please
5th, in
remove
the
your chairs
6th,
from
in the
Doran Park
7th.
when
The
leaving this
Firebirds
evening.
held
You're
off. They
welcome to
couldn't
set
hold
them up
on
early on game days,
for
but
one
please
more
do not
inning.
leave them
They
here
give up
overnight.
4. They
Thank you.
battle back in the 9th, but another
The Birds are on the road
one-run
tomorrow
loss
night
for
in
these
Falmouth before
Birds.
enjoying an off day. We'll be
Bourne
taking
improves to
part in our
10,
fourth
8-1 on the
4th of July
year.
parade on Tuesday
Scott
at 10
Lander's
a.m. on Main
team
Street in
continues to
Buzzards
look
Bay.
more and more like a
Before
team that can
playing
make
at
it
Wareham
back to the
that night.
championship
The
series for a
Braves will
3rd
return to
season in a
action
row.
here at Doran Park on
8-2
Wednesday night.
over
First
their
pitch is
last
at 6
10,
p.m.
sitting at
and the
2nd
Wareham
in the
Gatemen
West
will be in
Division,
town.
only
Have a great
behind
4th of July, and we look forward to
the
seeing
Cotuit
you back here
Cavaliers.
next Wednesday.
Meanwhile,
Have a great
Orleans
night and drive home
continues
safe.
to exchange wins and losses. After a 3-game win streak last week, Orleans has interchanged losses and wins ever since. Birds dropped to 8-10, now 6-4 in their last 10, sitting in the middle of the pack in the East Division. And Dylan, it almost felt like Orleans missed some opportunities heading into that bottom of the 8th inning. And ultimately, that's what did them in. Obviously, kind of a wonky sequence in the entirety of that bottom of the 8th, but Orleans had opportunities to build a lead before that.
I go back to the first inning, Ian. It was bases loaded with 1 out for Jake Hyde. He grounded up into a double play. It felt like with Marcus Morgan, the official starter for the Braves, which was 3 hours ago, he got off scot-free, it felt like. With 2 runs only allowed in the first, the Firebirds couldn't convert with more. They came back. Bourne did with 2 of their own in the bottom of the 2nd, and ever since, a lead for the Firebirds in the 5th, but eventually the bottom of the 8th did them in, like you said.
Continuing with cooling down here on the Birds Broadcast Network. 6-5 the final score. Bourne takes down Orleans from Doran Park. 6 runs off 11 hits and 1 error for the Braves. 5 runs off 9 hits and 2 errors for the Firebirds. Offense looked good for Orleans tonight. Not as good as it could have been. A lot of opportunities. Overall, the bullpen, something that we've talked about a lot heading into tonight, wasn't able to get it done late in the game for Orleans. Connor Eaton was really starting to build positive performance after positive performance. Does give up 4 runs, not entirely on him, but what looked different with him today?
I mean, he got lucky to start the inning, and then it was the top of the order for Bourne, which you give him 3, 4, 5 at-bats in a game, and they're only going to get better and better against whatever team you're playing in the Cape Cod Baseball League. So they took advantage. You got to give them credit. They came back. It wasn't easy, especially after Andy Blake with a huge RBI single in the top of the 8th. Some days aren't yours. Today wasn't Connor Eaton's, and eventually the Birds didn't have enough.
There were some positives, though. You're taking on a Bourne team that's arguably the hottest in the Cape Cod Baseball League right now. A lot of good individual performances. Is there one or two that really stand out to you as we continue our post-game coverage here on Cooling Down?
Yeah, I think Johnny Olmstead had another great game, a go-ahead RBI single in that 5th inning that almost got out of the ballpark, along with some of the outfield defense. Jay Casey had a great catch back in that 3rd inning. So I think those are 2 performances that you can kind of, you know, build yourself on, but this one kind of stings. It does. It feels like a loss that, you know, you've had some close losses and you take some positives away, but this is a loss that you're going to think back on, and definitely it's going to sting in the mind and the hearts of the Firebirds.
So now Orleans returns home. Not only returns home, but is back at Eldridge Park for 3 straight games. Obviously, tonight a road loss against Bourne, but now you play Wareham, Chatham, and Harwich in a row. Solid Wareham team, a Chatham team that's kind of struggling right now, and a Harwich team that's defeated Orleans already 3 times this season. Orleans tonight, what do you think is the biggest negative takeaway that is maybe the most easily correctable?
It's a good question. I think it's got to be the defense. I think that Orleans had really good defense performances this year. I thought that they've also had games where it's cost them games. I think against Falmouth, the defense costed them back on Wednesday. And tonight, I mean, you can say that this game was definitely run by the defense. Bourne made a lot of good plays, and Orleans couldn't match in the 8th inning. 2 errors, or ruled them hits, but in all reality, if a normal non-biased scorekeeper was making the calls, it would be errors, and I'm sure the players would tell you the same. And you blow a lead in the 8th inning, but defense can always get corrected, and more reps and getting a little bit more familiar with each field. This is the first time the players have played on the field, and a few wacky bounces as well tonight.
Yes, the first trip to Bourne to play the Braves from Doran Park. The defending champs even up the season series with the Birds. Orleans took down Bourne 6-4 in the 3rd game of the season. Scotlanders team fires back, a really completely remade team, especially in the bottom of the 8th with 4 runs, and they take it 6-5 against Orleans. Before we close up shop completely on Cooling Down, got to thank our post-game sponsor, Mazzio Construction. Mazzio Construction LLC's worked hard to build a resume for itself. Let them put their knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. Their team is committed to exceed your expectations. New home, addition to existing home, renovation, they handle it all. They work close with all their clients to make sure that all your needs are met. They're honest, on time with schedule, and passionate about what they do. Give them a call. Let them introduce you to their work. Let's see how they can help you. Mazzio Construction LLC. Orleans picks up its 10th loss on the year, drops to 8-10. Braves pick up their 10th win on the season. Final score 6-5 from Doran Park in favor of the Bravos. For my partner Dylan Pescatore, Sammy Miller on the sideline, Will Lundrigan doing the producing, and for everybody else involved, thank you so much. Have a great night. I'm Ian Nicholas. We'll see you again tomorrow. Wareham, 6:30, 6:15 start on the Scorching Start here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Make sure to tune in.